This video continues with Chapter 81, The Weakness and the Map Acquired. What if a Hyuga awakened the corpse bone pulse? Chapter 81, The Weakness and the Map Acquired. Chapter 81, The Weakness and the Map Acquired. Elite Classroom. The soporific lecture still echoed in the air. In the summer atmosphere, the large leaves of the pothos on the windowsill drooped, looking rather listless. Naruto diligently copied down his notes. His face was full of pain. Turning to look at the serious-looking Hyuga beside him, he seemed to remember something, then abandoned his laziness and continued writing diligently. Ninja School Grey Glass had a tense face and was watching the situation in the restroom from afar with her Byakugan. Seeing her master walk away satisfied, Hinata, tears streaming down her face, cleaned herself of the filth. She relaxed her straight back, leaning against the hard chair, finding it especially comfortable today. The main body has accomplished its mission and is now retired. Everything is going smooth. Hinata, who has not yet matured, lacks the courage she would have when facing pain. The young lady of the prestigious Hyuga clan was bullied by the village children, and she didn't even have the will to fight back. When such a person encountered the ugly and terrifying true form, who was so inhuman, she could only obediently surrender. Ninja School Grey Glass reviewed the plan in her mind and found no oversights. The Byakugan of both the main body and the clone are activated simultaneously, forming a huge visual encirclement that eliminates any possibility of accidents. At last, Neji, who is very proud and difficult to deal with, was left to his main body to figure out a solution, while his clone was responsible for handling Hinata's subsequent training, and to receive her family's secret techniques. The shadow clone technique is surprisingly useful. As one of his clones, Ninja School Grey Glass sighed sincerely. The second Hokage was truly an extraordinary genius. The more she explored the vast world of ninjutsu, the more she could appreciate the second Hokage's extraordinary talent. Flying Thunder God Technique, Shadow Clone Technique, Impure World Reincarnation. Each one is a powerful forbidden technique that is no less than a bloodline limit, making them the complete opposite of the first Hokage. If someone could combine the power of Hashirama Senju with the wisdom of Tobirama Senju, that would be the true god of ninjas. Ninja School Grey Glass gently stroked her cheek. Currently, I am probably the only one in the ninja world who has achieved this feat. Ha ha. Ninja School Grey Glass chuckled inwardly with a self-deprecating smile. Her Byakugan remained fixed on Hinata's movements in the distance, ready to unleash its full power if Hinata made any unusual moves. For example, to attract the attention of Konoha. Delay the time. The user instructed the main body to open the 8 gates and burn their muscles to escape. With the extreme speed of the 8 gates and the burning of muscles to reduce her weight, there was almost no one in Konoha who could stop her. Speaking of which, the development of the water release form has also encountered some difficulties. The water release. Grey Glass clone wanted to emulate Gaara's sand tray and gain the ability to fly by relying on water release. As a result, due to its excessive weight and the fluid nature of water-based techniques, it was unable to bear the burden of flight. She then tried to imitate the morphological changes of birds. The result was still not satisfactory. Water's fluidity is both an advantage and a disadvantage. Once flowing water is subjected to external pressure, it immediately deforms and cannot maintain a stable state. Neither turtle nor bird forms are suitable for water escape. After her actual testing, she found that fish-shaped, snake-shaped, and net-shaped formations were very suitable for water escape techniques. When intimidating Hinata, the water release spider web that his true form was lying on the ceiling was the result of several days of work by water release, Grey Glass. Besides being used to scare people, the web-like water trap, with its openwork mesh structure, reduces air resistance when capturing prey, while the unique weaving method of the spider web enhances its toughness. It lacks the power and weight of ordinary simulated ocean waves, but its practicality is greatly enhanced. The success of the net-shaped clone greatly excited the water release clone, which no longer confined itself to beast or vessel forms, and wanted to simulate everything it saw with water release to see the effect. Chakra consumption is also rising accordingly. Fortunately, the 8 gates of the body came into play. Before the gate of injury, the 8 gates would not harm the body, but would only gather the uncontrollable life force that usually dissipated and could not be controlled in exchange for chakra. The amount of chakra in the main body has increased again in the past few days. His chakra level has improved from the initial threshold of Jonin to the middle level. If he were to open the gate of injury, his chakra reserves would surpass those of Kakashi Headache. Abbreviated as one card and tilde. Why do I suddenly feel like I'm such a loser? He devoured tailed beasts and mastered the 8 gates. Each sounded incredibly ruthless. Yet his chakra reserves were only about the same as Kakashi's, who was the most chakra-starved character in the original story. Dong dong dong. Suddenly there was a knock on the classroom door. Hyuga paused on the podium, and together with the drowsy students in the class, looked towards the door. Enter. Click. The green wooden door to the classroom opened. Hinata walked in from outside the door with her head down, her clothes and pants soaking wet, looking extremely disheveled. Hyuga's annoyance at being interrupted several times disappeared, replaced by a hint of worry in his eyes. Hinata, what happened to you? Hinata noticed everyone's eyes were fixed on her, especially on the nightmarish figure sitting in the back row. Her heart began to pound again, and her large, white eyes darted around nervously, like a frightened fawn. Ninja School Gray Glass squinted at Hinata's moving lips. Beneath the blindfold, a bloodthirsty killing intent surged in his deathly gray eyes. Grinning, the tip of its tongue licks the sharp canine teeth. Hinata shuddered. I felt as if I were being targeted by some kind of wild beast, and if I took another step forward, I would be hunted down in terror. I slipped and fell while washing my face. Hinata made up a reason at random, and didn't even dare to look at the man-eating monster sitting in the back row of the classroom. Hyuga glanced at the water stains on Hinata's body. Hinata is shy and usually speaks softly, so Hyuga didn't notice anything unusual. Hinata's face looked rather pale. She didn't seem to be feeling well today. Why don't you go home and change your clothes? No. Hinata shook her head quickly. Huilai's order was for her to memorize the diagrams of Byakugan 8 trigrams palm and finish them by today. If she ran home now, her only option would be to disappear on the way home. Resisting the temptation to go home, Hinata quickly walked back to her seat. Sit down. The wet pants clung to his body, cold and damp, but nothing compared to the murderous intent emanating from behind him. Ino looked at her deskmate with concern. Are you all right, Hinata? She always felt that Hinata's condition was not quite right. No, it's okay. Hinata was afraid that Ino would also be targeted by the monster behind her, so she didn't dare to say much and opened her notebook to silently write down the secret techniques of Byakugan. Ring 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 exclamation. The bell rang for the end of get out of class. In no time at all, 3 classes had passed. The noisy ringing was drowned out by even louder laughter. Throughout this process, only Harry and Hinata remained quietly seated. One was writing from memory, the other was watching. It was as if they were the only 2 people in the same world. The pen tip glides across the pages, making a soft, scratching sound. Click. Tighten the cap on the ballpoint pen. Hinata looked at the diagrams that were about 10 pages long. She could only memorize this much of the Byakugan diagrams, and it's all in this notebook. If her family finds out that she has revealed the family's secret technique, her father will definitely expel her from the Hyuga clan, or even execute her. Thinking of the potentially tragic future, Hinata pursed her lips, and tears welled up in her Byakugan eyes again. I wiped my eyes and closed the notebook. Get up. He looked at gray glass behind him. Then, under the watchful eyes of her classmates, Hinata walked up to Harry with her notebook in her arms. Here, take it. Thank you. Ninja School High Rai took Hinata's notebook and smiled, revealing 8 teeth. They've obtained a portion of the Byakugan secret technique, and Hinata's crimes are now fully exposed. Spreading the family's secret techniques is such a serious charge that even her father, Hyuga Hayashi, will likely face impeachment. Hinata could no longer resist her. Hyuga-kun, you did a great job. Hinata's eyes reddened. She had never received recognition from her father, but she never expected to receive the praise she had always longed for from Harry. But no matter what she did, she couldn't be happy. Keep up the good work. I know, yes. Hinata lowered her head and learned very quickly. End of this chapter. Chapter 82 Death Forest. Chapter 82 Death Forest 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Lead gray clouds obscured the sky, and fine, hair-like rain cast shadows on the rock carvings between the thousand-hand pillars. The street is 1 kilometer away from the Ninja Academy. An ordinary-looking middle-aged man stood alone on the street, holding an umbrella. Rainwater slid down the blue umbrella, dripping and pattering. It seems they are waiting for someone. Maintaining her transformation, Huey raised her umbrella, her expression somber. A deep-seated gloom churned within her eyes as she watched the Ninja Academy's gates from afar. For several days in a row, she hasn't found a suitable opportunity to get in touch with Hyuga Neji. There are too many people and too many eyes in the school, making it difficult to perform well. After school, Neji would head straight for the Hyuga clan's territory as soon as he left the school gates, rarely lingering outside. Fearing being discovered by Neji's Byakugan, she kept her observation within the limits of the Byakugan's range, which indeed did not attract Neji's attention, but she also never found an opportunity to be alone with him. Neji and Hinata are the only 2 members of the Hyuga clan at the Ninja Academy. Hinata has become highly obedient under the tutelage of Ninja Academy Harry, who provides her with several pages of Byakugan diagrams every day. It has now reached 63 pages. We have collected nearly half of the 128 varieties needed to complete the set. Her memory is all right, but these diagrams not only need to be memorized, but also require a series of calculations and specific techniques to perfectly combine chakra and physical body. Compared to the powerful and fast-moving Konoha-style Koken, the gentle fist is so refined that it doesn't seem like a taijutsu at all, and its training difficulty is no less than that of ninjutsu or secret techniques. Huey's back wasn't particularly strenuous, but her speed wasn't very fast either. The progress can only be described as barely satisfactory. As the secret techniques of Byakugan became more and more complete, Hinata no longer posed a threat. This time, all we need to do is take down Neji. All the Hyuga clan members she could come into contact with were her people. Not only would the risk of their secrets being exposed be minimized, but they would also be able to obtain a large amount of information about the Hyuga clan. She never forgot the threat posed by the Hyuga clan. As long as those Byakugan eyes remained in their sockets, she would definitely settle things with the Hyuga clan. It's just a matter of time just now. Harry's goal was to stall for time until she had fully matured before addressing the Hyuga clan's problems. Given her growth rate, barring any unforeseen circumstances, reaching the level of a regular elite jonin by the time she graduates from the Ninja Academy should not be difficult at all. When the 8 gates are opened, those 2 cowards from the Hyuga clan will be wiped out in no time at this time. Just as Huey was pondering, 1 kilometer away, the gates of the Konoha Ninja Academy slowly opened. Students, carrying their school bags, walked out of the door in 2s and 3s. The Ninja Academy has a small student body. The entire school, including all teachers and students, is less than half the size of a single grade in my previous middle school. Chakra is such a precious thing that not everyone can possess it. Gray Glass rolled her eyes at them. Soon they saw Ninja Academy Gray walking out of the school surrounded by a group of friends. The shadow clone handled her interpersonal relationships at school very well. There's no need to even think about the secret techniques. That's not something you can get just by having good connections. However, she had already learned some knowledge about the nature and changes of yang release from Akimichi Choji. as a change in nature that was left ambiguous in the original work. Huey has finally unveiled a corner of the mystery. According to Choji Kimichi, the nature of yang release changes in one aspect: life. But the very nature of life encompasses all the characteristics of living organisms, such as absorption, release, healing, strengthening, movement, and balance. Because the nature of life is too vast, the Kimichi clan is only particularly skilled at absorbing, releasing, and strengthening. Choji couldn't reveal the specific training methods. Their training wasn't based on the essence of yang release, but rather on specialized training to master secret techniques. Without these techniques, it would be useless for Harry to practice. I obtained some of the yin release techniques from Nara Shikamaru. Yin release chakra can transform people's fantasies into reality through a source of spiritual energy in some unknown way, making it a very versatile nature transformation. It is commonly known as the power of my thinking. If your mental strength is strong enough, you can even make a person disappear from the world out of thin air. Legend has it that one of the Nara clan's ancestors made a mistake while practicing yin escape. He was swallowed by his own shadow and his whereabouts remain unknown. Shikamaru's words were vague and mysterious, even including myths and legends, unlike Choji, who was honest. After talking for a long time in a daze, Harry didn't get any useful information. It's probably because we haven't known each other for very long, and we're still keeping a lot of reservations. Goodbye. Holding an umbrella, Ninja School Grey waved to her friends with a radiant smile. Goodbye for the three. Nara responded with smiles in return, while Naruto was already completely mesmerized. As a young man, Hyuga understood Naruto's subtle feelings. But achieving the 6 realms is her only pursuit in this life. Compared to the allure of becoming a god, immortal and indestructible, what is mere love? As long as she can achieve the bloodline limit, she is willing to abandon her human identity. Anyway, Naruto isn't exactly love-obsessed. I liked Sakura when I was a child, but she ended up marrying Hinata. Our friendship has changed a bit now, so it's not worth mentioning. Let Naruto and Hinata get married properly. When Boruto is born, she'll see what all this talk about the Jogan and tattoos is all about. I watched as the shadow clone went home with his school bag on his back. Gray Glass's vision continued to extend backward. Soon, the Byakugan spotted Hyuga Neji. Okay? Huey raised an eyebrow. After leaving the school, Neji Hyuga did not head towards the Hyuga clan's territory. She had been staking out this place for several days, and each time Hyuga Neji headed straight southwest. This time, Neji's direction was actually the opposite. Where is he going with questions in mind? Gray Glass stirred his chakra, activated his Byakugan, and filled his meridians. Her pupils contracted slightly, and her enhanced white-eye vision was no longer a 360-degree sphere, but a straight line. In this state, her vision could go further. This ability is also one of the special effects produced by the combination of Byakugan and Shikotsumyaku. Huey doesn't need to form hand seals at all when using the Byakugan, and the control method is more free and varied. The perspective is becoming increasingly narrow. Neji continued forward at a very fast pace. The further you walk, the more remote the surrounding environment becomes. Following the direction Neji had traveled, she finally discovered Neji's destination. That direction is Death Forest. What was he doing in the Forest of Death? Could it be that Neji was already secretly learning the main family's secret techniques at this point in time? So he went to the Death Forest, a place rarely visited by people, to train the clan's secret techniques based on the original work. Huey instantly deduced Neji's purpose. She immediately recognized the opportunity. A quiet environment is always needed to reach a cooperation agreement. If Neji refuses to cooperate, being eaten by wild beasts in the treacherous Forest of Death would be a very common occurrence! Holding an umbrella. Huey kept walking, following Neji's retreating figure, towards the distant Forest of Death. End of this chapter. Chapter 83 Neji. Chapter 83 Neji Forest of Death. The open space on the eastern perimeter. The rain fell in fine threads, as dense as a mist. Hyuga Neji shook the dampness off his clothes, threw his schoolbag under a tree to take shelter from the rain, and found a large tree covered in scars by himself. Bring your 5 fingers together and face upwards. Beneath the white cloth covering his forehead, Neji's clear Byakugan eyes blazed with an almost tangible fury. Fortunately, it wasn't the main family that got into trouble. Those were the original words of Hyuga, a member of the Hyuga main family and the youngest son of Hyuga, who was only 3 years old. Who taught you to say that? That's what everyone says. The child's innocent voice contained no sarcasm or malice, but simply revealed the cold reality. Desperate. The rain soaked the white cloth. The cold rain could not alleviate the burning pain of the caged bird, just as the strip of cloth on his forehead could not conceal his lowly status. An uncontrollable roar surged within his chest. Scalding chakra gathered in his palm. The glowing palm slammed into the tree trunk, and the gathered chakra surged out from the acupoints. Peng! A muffled thud came from the tree trunk. The already scarred tree trunk has been further cracked. Not enough. Roll your eyes open. His eyes were covered with menacing blood vessels, and chakra was frantically gathering inside his body. Soft fist technique. Bagua 64 palms! His shoulders were shaking. Neji's killing intent transformed into countless palm prints, covering the tree trunks like a denser rain. Bang, bang, bang. Exclamation! The bark cracked, and the leaves fluttered down. The light of chakra shimmered in the rain and mist, and water vapor and wood chips exploded under the surging energy. 1632-47 snapped! He slammed his palm into the tree trunk. The halo of light in my palm spread uncontrollably. The sound coming from the tree trunk was not a muffled, concentrated thud, but rather a loose, snapping sound. The leaves stopped falling. The tree trunk remained completely still. Neji's palms were red, his arms were trembling, and he was breathing heavily. 47 again. To be considered to have entered the basics, one must unleash 16 palm strikes in one go. 32 palm strikes is the limit for most branch families. Only by being able to unleash 64 palm strikes in one go can one be considered to have mastered this secret technique. Of course, only members of the branch family who are recognized by the main family can be granted the qualification to learn the 64 palms. It is said that the head of the main family, Hyuga Hayashi, can unleash 128 palm strikes in one go. With a powerful palm strike, he instantly turned a taijutsu jonin into a bloody pulp. There is still a long way to go. I urge myself on internally. Clench your fist to suppress the trembling. With arms outstretched, he once again assumed the starting stance of the soft fist. Looking at the tree trunk in front of him, which had been beaten until the yellow wood was exposed, he saw it as proof of his long-term efforts. He didn't know why he was working so hard. To free the caged bird, no matter how strong he becomes, the caged bird can never be released, and everyone in the family knows this very well. As servants and tools, the stronger they are, the more convenient it is for the main family to use them. Many members of the branch family deliberately neglected training in order to resist the rule of the main family. He had personally witnessed a once genius boy from the branch family become mediocre under the oppression of the caged bird. Even when others were diligently cultivating, that person would come over and try to dissuade them, of course. That person's fate was also very tragic. Even without serious training, this genius possessed the strength of a jonin, but under the terrifying caged bird seal, he rolled around in the center of the training field, clutching his head. The father's decision to die in his place, and the genius's loud pleas for mercy as the family divided. This constituted his deepest fear. The azure chakra aura shone brightly once more. Due to insufficient control over the chakra, red dots remained on the swollen pressure points in the palm. The slight physical pain, though not severe, was a good remedy for his inner torment. As long as there was even the slightest possibility of freeing the caged bird, Even if it was all just a beautiful dream, he had no intention of giving up. He didn't know how strong he would have to become to free the caged bird. The only thing he was clear about was that if he remained weak, there would be no hope. As a child, Neji still harbored hope of freeing the caged bird. He was not yet a hopeless genius trapped in fate. Come again. Neji's eyes were resolute, and his gleaming bagua palm struck the tree trunk once more. Pen! Peng! Exclamation! The persistent muffled thuds resumed. In the dense forest, a middle-aged man holding an umbrella stood in the distance, his eyes gleaming with a faint light. In the visual sense: a black-haired boy dressed in white, drenched in rain, vented his anger on a tree trunk. He still had chakra left, but his muscles were exhausted and congested with blood. Not bad. Hyuga admired Neji's skillful and fluid bagua palm technique. To be able to practice Byakugan up to the 47th move at this age is far superior to that noob who can't even memorize the complete diagrams. Yes, she was talking about Hinata. Hinata, who could only memorize about 10 diagrams, was still at a kindergarten level when it came to Byakugan. Neji, who was only a year older than her, could already use Byakugan in actual combat. Comparing the two, no wonder Hyuga was disappointed in Hinata. Even after seeing Neji, Harry's opinion of Hinata dropped another notch. Yeah, only people like this are worth trying to win over. Seeing Neji's visible anger, Hyuga felt that her subjugation plan should not encounter any obstacles. Emotions are the hardest thing for you to control, and also the easiest tool for others to manipulate you. She didn't know why Neji was angry, but in the end it all comes down to the division of the family, the main family, and the caged bird. Hyuga was the only non-family member to escape the caged bird's bondage. If Neji wants to escape the caged bird situation, he has no choice but to cooperate with her. When she has collected all the diagrams of Byakugan and needs to practice in actual combat, she can ask Neji to be her sparring partner. This way, she will have a learning partner to practice the secret techniques of the main family's gentle fist. Thanks to the combination of the corpse bone pulse and the Byakugan, Harry learns everything very quickly. She always believed herself to be a peerless genius. It wasn't until she encountered obstacles in practicing wind release, nature transformation, that she realized how much of her talent was actually unrealistic. The gentle fist of the Hyuga clan cannot be cheated with the Byakugan. It's a good opportunity to see how far I've gone in the Hyuga clan, where everyone has Byakugan, and whether I can surpass the number 1 genius among the 12 Konoha 12. Peng! Exclamation! Snapped! Exclamation! Wood chips flew everywhere. Whoosh! Neji leaned against the tree trunk, panting heavily. His clothes were soaked through, and his long hair was disheveled, making it difficult to tell whether it was sweat or rain. A gentle breeze, mixed with a light drizzle, rustled the leaves. Click! Click! The tree branch snapped under the weight of a heavy object, making a crisp sound. The sound of footsteps could be heard, as if a magnificent brown bear was moving forward in the dense forest. Neji, who was catching his breath, suddenly stood up straight. A wary look back. Not far in front of him, a figure carrying a blue umbrella slowly approached, stepping on the bare branches on the ground. The umbrella was thrown on the ground, but the rainwater, blocked by the umbrella's surface, did not fall. Instead, it slid past him, avoiding his figure. Until he reached Neji, not a single drop of rain fell on that person, as if even the rain in the sky was afraid of it. Neji involuntarily took a half step back. The intense, dangerous aura emanating from the other party caused his chakra to surge restlessly. The man looked at the bewildered Neji, a smile playing on his lips, his calm eyes revealing an unsettling deathly pallor. Hyuga Neji, interested in having a chat. Regarding the Hyuga, the branch family, the main family, the caged bird seal, and your 8 trigrams palm. End of this chapter. Chapter 84 Caged Bird. Chapter 84 Caged Bird. Boom. A bright light appeared on the horizon. The leaden gray clouds rumbled with muffled thunder. A damp, dead forest. The boy, soaked to the bone, assumed a soft fist stance, his white eyes fixed on the man standing in the rain who seemed like a god. I never talk to people who are secretive or evasive. What do you want to know? Your identity, purpose, and your true appearance. Neji's milky white pupils contracted, his eye power completely locking onto the man in front of him. In the white eye's vision, the other party was radiating a deep blue chakra light, making it impossible to see the outline of the meridians and muscles inside. It's obvious that they used a transformation technique to disguise themselves. This is a major flaw in the white eye. The Byakugan, with its exceptional ability to see through objects, can have its vision blocked by a dense network of chakra. Some secluded spots in the village are equipped with small ceiling barriers, mainly to defend against the Byakugan's ability to see through things. The principle behind the transformation technique's ability to block the Byakugan is similar to that of a barrier. It uses chakra to envelop objects and simulate external objects, which appear as a thick film of light from the Byakugan's perspective. He could only tell that the other party had used a transformation technique, but he could not see the original appearance inside. The other party came prepared. Neji made his judgment and became even more cautious in his actions. Many people know that sealing techniques can counter the Byakugan, but very few know that transformation techniques are effective against it. Such familiarity with the Byakugan's weaknesses suggests either a master of the Anbu or someone on their own side. Neji felt a heavy weight in his heart. The branch family's Byakugan can only be practiced up to the 30-second move. The subsequent moves require the main family's approval. If the Hyuga main family discovers my secret training here, I wonder how they will punish me. Thinking of the branch family genius who had cried his heart out in the training field, Neji felt even more nervous. Who are you exactly? Only two kinds of people can know my identity. The man finally spoke, his magnetic voice deep and resonant. Which two? Neji quickly asked questions. Friends or dead people? The man stared directly at Neji, his gray pupils filled with an unspeakable stillness. Which one do you want to be, Hyuga Neji? Thunder rumbled incessantly through the dark clouds. The rain intensified grunt. Neji's Adam's apple bobbed. He understood the other party's meaning from the murderous words. If he knew the man's identity but didn't become friends with him, he might be in mortal danger. Let me explain why you've come. He stared directly at the other's evil-smelling chakra, then looked at his own exhausted body, which was mostly depleted of chakra and aching muscles all over. I did a rough comparison of the enemies and our own combat strength. Neji chose to forget what he had said earlier about not talking to people who are secretive and evasive. A satisfied smile appeared on Huilai's face. Talented, courageous, and pragmatic, Neji possesses all the elements of success except for a bit of bad luck. In contrast, Hinata. She doesn't need to learn it. Even memorizing the secret techniques would be a struggle. Comparing people is a recipe for disaster, and comparing goods is a recipe for disaster. With Hinata as a cautionary tale, Harry's affection for Neji skyrocketed. I need you to help me gather intelligence on the Hyuga clan. You want me to be a spy? Yes. Neji looked at Harry in surprise. What the other party said was truly unexpected. Why me? You are very dissatisfied with the Hyuga main family. Don't rush to deny it. I can see that. Huilai waved her hand to interrupt Neji, who was about to retort, then raised a finger and continued. I have an irreconcilable conflict with the Hyuga main family. If you are willing to help me bring down the main family, I can grant you one wish after it is done. Desire? Yes, any wish is acceptable. Silence. In the desolate, dead forest, only the patter of rain could be heard. Could you untie the bird from its cage for me? Despite the slim chances, Neji still held his head high, his gaze intense. Not for now. Huilai shook her head. The cursed seal of the caged bird seal can only be broken by the head of the main family and the eldest elder, and Hinata has no chance of obtaining it. The light in Neji's eyes visibly dimmed. But the future is possible. Hyuga gazed at Neji's delicate face, her words revealing a strong sense of confidence. With Kaguya Otsutsuki as her goal, she never took Hyuga seriously. Shikotsumyaku, Byakugan, 8 gates, tailed beast chakra. There are too many unusual things about her. It's only a matter of time before she defeats the Hyuga. She wanted to recruit Neji, not for any information about the Hyuga clan. That's just an excuse. As long as Neji keeps the secret and doesn't expose her to the Hyuga during her developmental period, the rest will fall into place naturally. Neji's eyes regained their sparkle. He could hear the certainty in Hyuga's tone. Neji seemed to have a glimmer of hope to escape the caged nightmare. Even though that hope was extremely slim, he longed for it immensely. Neji hesitated for a long time, wanting the man to prove it. But he couldn't say a word. He was terrified that a man's empty promises were just a beautiful bubble, and once burst, cruel reality would plunge him into the abyss. Could you show me the future you described? After a moment's hesitation, Neji finally voiced his request. Though it was a request, Harry could detect a hint of pleading in his tone. The caged bird was driving the boy who had separated from his family crazy. It's like a straw on the edge of a cliff. Even without Hyuga's persuasion, the yearning for freedom had already gradually drawn towards her. Of course. Hyuga finished speaking. Raise your hand gently. The 3 points of light emanating green glow within the body suddenly activated. The chakra core within his heart frantically devoured life force, and countless streams of deep blue energy surged forth from gray glass's body. Boom, boom, boom! Exclamation thunder roared across the sky, unleashing a silver serpent dance. In a flash of light, Neji rolled his eyes and looked up in disbelief. The sky as far as the eye can see, countless glistening raindrops were frozen in the air. Lightning flashed. Raindrops reflect light. Each grain is distinct as if the whole world has been paused. Looking at it with Byakugan, the eerie deep blue chakra split into countless parts, like a deep blue starry sky. This Neji stood frozen in place, stunned by the shocking scene before him. With a mere gesture, he froze the rain in midair. This extraordinary control over water magic made the man before him seem like a god from mythology who controlled floods. With that kind of chakra, it should be possible. We can definitely untie his caged bird. Neji kept repeating this in his mind, reinforcing his belief. Reason suppressed his inner elation. Now he only had one last question left. Will you really untie the caged bird for me? Faced with Neji's final question, Harry already chuckled inwardly. That overflowing longing was like a raging fire. She could even feel its intense heat. There is no need to say more. The smoke formed from chakra exploded with a roar. The silver-haired girl, blindfolded, held up the torrential rain with one hand and untied the black cloth covering her eyes with the other. Their deathly gray eyes met a surprised, disdainful stare. The swollen veins on both sides of the eye sockets connect the blood vessels of the two people. Clutching the black cloth, Hyuga slowly approached. With the back of his hand facing up, he placed his index and middle fingers together on Neji's trembling forehead. Black and white strips of cloth collided with each other. Neji's trembling pupils reflected the figure of the girl holding up the sky. Neji, don't worry. We all share the same deepest desire, freedom. The girl's melodious voice echoed through the woods. It also resonated in Neji's heart. Tears and smiles welled up. After being branded like a caged bird, he felt the light of hope for the first time from the bottom of his heart. And it is so bright and beautiful. End of this chapter. Chapter 85 Sunflower. Chapter 85 Sunflower. Rainy night. The crescent moon was completely covered by dark clouds, and no light could see through it. The torrential rain lost its momentum, and the fine raindrops pattered on the treetops and leaves, making a rustling sound. Under the huge, scarred banyan tree, 2 teenagers with the same goal sat on the ground, one in black and the other in white, with 2 wide cloths draped over their thighs. The ashen gray and the milky white stared at each other. An umbrella was placed between the two, blocking the rain that kept falling from above. Neji, seeing the unusual eye roll from Harry, could hardly hide his excitement. He had already heard about his background from Huey, the bloodline of the Hyuga sinners, who did not want to be branded like a caged bird, was left to wander outside. To avoid being hunted down by the Hyuga main family, he pretended to be blind by covering his eyes with a black cloth every day. As long as the caged bird system remains in place, she will forever be an enemy of the main family. Just like myself. However, unlike before having already been cursed with the caged bird seal, he had lost the means to fight against the main family, while Huey still possessed the ability to resist them. She was not only their own hope, but also the hope of everyone in the divided family. If the Hyuga clan were to learn of Harry's existence, both the main family and the branch family would go mad. What do you want to do? Neji trembled with excitement, even his words seemed to be uttered with trembling. The long-cherished wish of separating the family for thousands of years finally saw hope. Neji could not suppress the fervor in his heart. Like a bird that had been trapped in a cage for a long time and looked up at the sky, he finally saw a clear crack in the lock. That joy was beyond words. In his eyes, the fact that the genius girl was not subjected to the caged bird mentality was already a blessing from heaven. Fate finally extended a helping hand to him. Huey stared directly at the hot-blooded Neji and slowly said, "Gather information, secret techniques, and historical data about the Hyuga main family for me, and develop the available talents within the branch family. Once my body is fully developed, I will take down the Hyuga clan and abolish the main family and that damned caged bird Sato. Before I fully mature, you are not allowed to reveal my information to anyone. Those who split up like me don't be naive." Huey narrowed her eyes and warned, "If I die or am caged, the opportunity that we've waited 1,000 years for will be wasted." "Don't worry, I'd rather die than reveal it." Neji gritted his teeth and nodded firmly. If something goes wrong because of him and it affects Harry's plans, then Hyuga Neji would be the greatest war criminal in the branch family's history of 1,000 years. Even in death, when she went to the underworld, she couldn't face her father who had committed suicide. He is now more afraid than Huey of her being caged. If I remember correctly, Hinata Hyuga should be in your class. She has already awakened her Sharingan, so you must be careful. You can disguise yourself and fool others, but you can't fool the Byakugan's keen perception." Neji said worriedly. He was already anxious for Harry. A smile appeared on Huey face. Only then could she truly ascertain Neji's willingness to submit. "I have already resolved her problem in advance. Solved." Neji blinked. He could sense the dangerous aura emanating from Huey, and he was also aware of Huey's great reputation. Having just entered the ninja academy, he beat the Jonin Kazama Koshi so badly that he was hospitalized. Although they were not in the same grade, Neji had still heard of the formidable reputation of this top genius of the ninja academy. "She didn't kill Hinata, did she?" A terrible thought flashed through Neji's mind. Hinata isn't from a branch family. If she's killed, the entire Hyuga clan will come out, and Harry's identity will be impossible to hide, shattering any hope of breaking the caged bird seal. Although we've only met once. But at this moment, Huey's position in Neji's heart is more than 100 times more important than that of the eldest daughter of the main family who had been with him since childhood. Actually, it's not completely solved. I have something on her that she can't tell anyone. Is it a safe bet? Neji moved his face closer, looked up at Harry, and his expression was as if he were an underground contact doing some kind of illegal business. It's not a safe bet, so I need your help. What should I do? It's inconvenient for me to get close to the Hyuga clan's territory. You will keep an eye on Hinata Hyuga in the clan and report any unusual behavior to me. Clear. Neji got into character very quickly. He readily agreed to Huey's instructions without the slightest hesitation. The purpose is achieved. Huey glanced at the dark sky, picked up the black cloth from her lap, covered her eyes as usual, and was about to get up and leave. Wait a moment, Neji suddenly spoke up, calling out to Harry, who was picking up the umbrella. What else? As she was about to leave with the umbrella pole slung over her shoulder, Huey heard Neji calling her and turned around in confusion. Aren't you going to ask me about information concerning Hyuga? Neji, acting as a spy for the first time, was exceptionally skilled. Huey smoothed a strand of hair from her forehead. She really didn't have anything she wanted to ask. Firstly, as a member of a branch family, Neji likely had very limited access to intelligence and information. Secondly, the secret techniques related to Byakugan can all be obtained from Hinata. So Neji probably can't offer much help in this regard. The so-called intelligence gathering is just a pretext. As long as Neji doesn't reveal her information, the purpose of this trip will be achieved. But since Neji is being so proactive, there's no harm in listening. Tell me about it. Huey raised her chin, indicating that the spy Neji could speak. Neji carefully looked at Harry's face and slowly said, "A few days ago, a pair of branch family brothers went missing unexpectedly." Huey held the umbrella, remaining calm and composed. After observing for a while and seeing that Huey did not react, Neji continued, "The clan's grand elder said he would investigate to the end, but it's said that all the people he sent out have returned to the clan. It's possible that this matter will not be investigated any further." Huey remained calm in the face of Neji's slightly probing words. She had already given him the cold shoulder. Any normal person would immediately associate the disappearance of a member of the separated family with her. Just say what you want to say in one breath. There's no need to hesitate. Neji saw that Harry was only a little impatient but did not argue, and he already knew what was going on. "I've heard my father mention Aunt Hyuga Tenkui before. It is said that she had a chance to escape when she was ambushed on the battlefield of mist hidden in the sky. However, the enemy's main target was her, and in order to save as many people as possible, she left the hope of survival to the branch family guards who were protecting her. He decided to lure the enemy away alone and destroy his own eye before falling into enemy hands." Neji recalled the story his father, Hyuga Hisashi, had told him, his eyes filled with longing. Gray Glass remained silent. Standing in the rain, I listened quietly. Hinata Tenkui didn't know the specific reason why she was arrested, and no one had ever mentioned the story to her. No wonder King only has one white eye. It must have been destroyed by Hinata Tenkumi herself during the battle. The branch family guards who escaped from the battlefield brought news of Hyuga Tenmei's death. Because they abandoned the main family, resulting in the loss of the Byakugan bloodline limit, these branch family guards were subjected to terrible punishment by the main family. For the first time in 1,000 years, the bloodline of the white-eyed person has been lost. Her actions caused a huge uproar in the Hyuga clan. Some people thought she was incredibly foolish to lose her Byakugan for the sake of a few branch family guards, and that she was a sinner against the Hyuga clan. Some people believe she was a hero who covered the retreat of her people, and although she made mistakes, they were understandable. The main family and the branch family are arguing more and more fiercely, and some people have even started to fight over it. Finally, the head elder of the main family, Hyuga K, intervened and, as Hyuga Tenkyui's father, made a judgment on the matter. Neji's voice was deep and his expression solemn, as if he were unconsciously imitating his father's voice and smile. At that time Hyuga Tenmei caused the loss of the Byakugan bloodline limit, a crime that is unforgivable. She is stripped of her main family status and name, expelled from the Hyuga clan as a sinner, and forbidden from entering the Konoha Memorial Hall as a hero. Rumble! Thunder rumbled, and the rain gradually subsided. End of this chapter. Chapter 86 Homecoming. Chapter 86 Homecoming. TikTok! The accumulated raindrops flowed down the umbrella surface, forming a silvery thread between the umbrella ribs and the ground. The sky was almost completely dark. I can't tell north from south, east from west. The silver-haired girl was hidden in the shadows, her face obscured by a black cloth. Neji stared at the girl's figure in the rain, his eyes swirling with unspoken emotions. The main family's actions show that they don't value the fate of the family division. The heavier Hinata Tenko's guilt, the more worthless the lives of the branch family members are devalued. What's infuriating is that many members of the branch family also call Tenkui a sinner, venting their resentment at being bullied by the main family, because the Hyuga clan has finally produced someone even lower than them. Little did they know that this behavior implicitly endorsed the main family's ideology. Foolish, base, and weak. Such a person is not one of us from the branch family, but a lackey of the main family. No one cares about the life or death of a dog, neither the main family nor the branch family. Neji's words were forceful, and through the incident involving Hyuga AI, he fully revealed the internal problems between the main family and the branch family to Harry. Just from his tone, Huey understood. These are things that a child like Neji could never have come to understand. It should be the ideology passed down by Hyuga Hisashi. The main family did indeed have members like Hinata Tenai who treated the branch family very well. However, with the influence of the main family's power over the past 1,000 years, their inner beliefs have gradually changed, and they even regard the branch family members as servants to be ordered around at will, lowly slaves. Even after the family split up, internal conflicts were still rampant. Some people have been so thoroughly tamed that they have come to accept the distorted and noble ideals of the main family from the bottom of their hearts. She understood the implied meaning in Neji's words. Those two brothers guarding the gate are the lackeys of the branch family. They are neither valued by the main family nor by the branch family, and they are the lowest level of existence in the entire Hyuga clan. He usually only dared to complain in private, but when facing the Zong family, he wished he could bury his head in the ground. Nobody cares about the life or death of someone like that. Huey straightened the umbrella, facing Neji, who had a green pattern tattooed on his forehead, with a serious expression. First, he used Hinata AI's experience to incite her anger towards the main family, and then he introduced the different factions within the branch family, subtly demonstrating his stance and reassuring Harry. After all that talk, there's only one core point. The clan is utterly despicable and must be eradicated. Neji and the rebels of the branch family will definitely stand firmly on Harry's side and will not have any resentment towards Harry for killing two lackeys of the branch family. Are these the kids from the Naruto world? Looking at Neji in front of him. Although he is only 7 years old and his whole body exudes innocence, his way of doing things is incredibly insightful. Huey suddenly realized how valuable it was to have the title of genius in Konoha, a place known for its outstanding people and abundant resources. Harry's attitude towards Neji has changed. She doesn't hesitate to show respect when the other party states their position. Huey never forgot her greatest asset, not the original plot, but her knowledge of everyone's inner weaknesses and how to exploit them. Faced with the timid and cowardly Hinata Hyuga, she intimidated and tamed her with the attitude of a superior. However, people like Neji, who have a strong sense of self-respect, act shrewdly, and yearn for freedom, deserve recognition and respect. What he obtained from Huey was something he could never get from the main family. This is the only way to prevent the possibility of betrayal. Thank you, your information is very important. Neji's brows relaxed. He found Huey Liping's communication style very helpful. Ouch. Huey suddenly felt a wave of dizziness in her brain, let out a muffled groan, and held her forehead with her hand. What's wrong with you? Neji jumped up from the ground, his eyes filled with worry. Huey shook her dizzy head, clearing the memories transmitted in her mind, and waved to Neji: I am fine. Time flies. Several shadow clones waited for her at home for a long time, but she didn't come back, and their chakra was almost depleted. Fearing that the accumulated fatigue would delay Huey's affairs, he dared not dispel the clones together. So he first had Ninja School Huey dispel them and informed her of the situation on her end. Gray Glass activated his Byakugan. He preemptively numbed his nerves, shielding himself from the fatigue of the upcoming water release clone and wind release clone techniques. Seeing that Huilai was indeed unharmed, Neji immediately breathed a sigh of relief. It's better for him to get into trouble than for Huilai to get into trouble. No, we still need to strengthen Gray Glass's combat capabilities. Neji made a decision in his heart. The main family wields immense power, and they also have the help of lackeys from the branch families. This group of rebels is willing but powerless. They're lucky if they're not controlled by the caged bird, and they can't really help Huilai much. To stand against the main family alone, one must first possess invincible power. Gray Glass, which of the main family's secret techniques do you want to learn first? Neji spoke arrogantly. Can you take it out? Huilai asked doubtfully as she sorted through the memories flooding her mind. Even Hinata, the young lady of the main family, needs permission to view the family's secret techniques. Moreover, she cannot take the originals out. She can only memorize and learn them in the library. That's why Hinata only gave her a portion of the diagrams each day. She's too slow-witted to remember much at once. While sorting through Ninja Academy Huilai's memories, Huilai obtained a lot more diagrams, bringing the total to 78. It will only take a few more days to collect them all. Take it out, but I can copy it for you. The main family members are few in number and consider themselves to be of noble status. The security and cleaning staff at the library are all members of our branch family. If you ask for precious advanced secret techniques and materials, those are top secret, sealed in scrolls, and no one can see them without the permission of the main family. But for most of the common secret techniques, if I wanted to see them, the members of the branch family would turn a blind eye and not interfere. Huilai nodded reasonable. The main branch of the family is small in number, so they certainly can't do these tedious tasks, and it's inevitable that this kind of thing will happen. As long as the caged bird is protected from being broken, what good will it do if the branch family learns other secret techniques? In the end, they'll still be working for the main family for nothing. I've already learned Baguashing from Hinata. I want to learn pressure point techniques, the heavenly rotation technique, and Bagua empty palm. No problem, leave it to me. Neji gritted his teeth and pounded his chest with his fist. Unable to help Huilai in battle, stealing some secret techniques was the greatest contribution he could make. The faster Huilai grew stronger, the faster he could untangle the caged bird. If you encounter danger, protecting your own safety is more important. I can find a way to use the secret technique from Hinata, Huilai instructed. We finally managed to subdue Neji. We can't let him fail in a place like this. Don't worry, I'll be careful. Neji felt genuinely valued and respected by Huilai's instructions. The idea that separating from the main family means protecting the main family with one's life and fulfilling the main family's mission at all costs is the educational philosophy he received from childhood now. He deeply understood the difference between the Gray Glass family and the main family. She is the same person as Hinata A, the kind of person the Hinata main family should naturally be. You can choose the sky you like. Birds are the freest. The image of the caged bird was still etched on Neji's brow, yet he had already sensed the radiance of freedom. I will do everything I can to help you grow, and I will never betray you. This is my promise, Hyuga Neji. Neji's station stood straight, its expression solemn. His loyalty is clear. I will also help you untie the caged bird and abolish the system of the main family and the branch family. This is also my promise to Ashite of the Sun. Gray Glass clenched her fist and aimed it at Neji. I don't need your loyalty. I only need companions who can entrust their backs and allies who are of one mind with me. See this. Neji's face lit up with a triumphant smile, the last trace of resentment in his heart finally vanishing, and he clenched his fist in retaliation. He felt that respect under night. A light drizzle was falling. The young boy and girl pressed their fists together, looked into each other's eyes, and finally formed an alliance. End of this chapter. Chapter 87 Harvest. Chapter 87 Harvest the Day. Neji poured out everything he knew, from the history of the Hyuga clan, the estrangement between the branch family and the main family, to the death of his father, Hyuga Hisashi, useful and useless things alike. Gray glass did not disturb them. While reviewing the training progress of his clones in his mind, he adopted the posture of a listener, quietly listening to Hyuga Neji's worries over the years. Neji didn't need much agreement from Harry. Having lost his father and been caged like a bird, Neji harbored resentment but could never find an outlet for it. Now, facing Harry, he finally found a way to release his emotions. Two absent-minded people were strangely having a pleasant conversation. They didn't say goodbye until the rain stopped late at night, and an agreement was made. Starting tomorrow, Neji will accompany Harry to train in Byakugan every evening after school. The meeting place was set under the giant banyan tree in the Death Forest. Gray glass is perfectly acceptable. Hinata leaked the advanced secret techniques of the main family, while Neji stole the mid to low-level techniques. He can also give her a free gentle fist sparring partner. Hinata's gentle fist technique was already in his grasp. Consider that she has only been in Konoha for less than half a month. First, he obtained the Konoha Goken style and the 8 gates from Might Guy. Now that he has basically mastered the gentle fist technique, Bagapom, it's only a matter of time before he completes it, in addition to Huilai's innate bamboo extraction technique and corpse bone pulse. 1 S-rank forbidden technique, 2 physical bloodline limits, and 3 different styles of taijutsu. The path to becoming an invincible taijutsu ninja has slowly unfolded beneath Huilai's feet. But her gains went far beyond that. When Ninja School Gray Glass dispelled the clone, it gave her a reminder. She learned a lot today, so she needs to numb her senses and wait for the knowledge to be imparted. Huilai was really looking forward to it at the time. After the other clones dissipated and the chakra returned, the excited Huilai barely listened to Neji's complaints, focusing all her attention on the knowledge that kept flooding into her mind. As her memories continued to replay, Gray Glass's emotions soared. While the main body was tracking Neji, the clones were also busy. Today, Ninja School Gray Glass has finished memorizing all the diagrams she received. In a few days, once I've gathered the rest from Hinata, I can begin practicing the complete Byakugan. He improved his skills in the transformation of water release, Gray Glass, and even developed a new water release technique based on the pressure changes of water release, which is similar in principle to high-pressure water blade. In memory, the high-pressure water jet created by water release, Gray Glass cut a piece of bluestone as tall as a person in less than 3 seconds. Its cross-section is as smooth as a mirror, with almost no gravel. Excited, he modified and tested the water release clone technique several more times, and quickly mastered this ninjutsu. Let's talk about the advantages first. It is indeed very powerful. If you are hit, you will be crippled even if you don't die. Water release. Gray Glass tested it with his own bones, and if the distance was within half a meter, he could cut a rib in 2 seconds. To know, with his corpse bone vein, Gray Glass's bones are harder than steel. Few in the ninja world can match her defensive capabilities. If a water blade can cut through her bones, it means it can cut through more than 95% of the world's ninjas. It is a very powerful offensive ninjutsu. In her memory, Huilai saw the water release clone and felt a visible joy. However, when developing ninjutsu, we cannot only look at the advantages and ignore the disadvantages. She then conducted various tests and comparisons. Compared to its outstanding power, the drawbacks of the high-pressure water jet are equally obvious. This high-pressure water jutsu requires a long time to build up before release, increasing the internal pressure of the water jutsu chakra. It has a long wind-up and slow release speed, making it very easy to be interrupted. This is extremely deadly in battle. All the water-style ninjutsu developed by Harry, under the influence of the Three Tails power, are now unsealed ninjutsu. Urga mentioned this in class. Ninja battles are extremely dangerous. The purpose of hand seals is to make ninjutsu formulaic and mechanized. Once mastered, the embarrassing situation of failing to release the technique is almost impossible. The more complete the hand seals, the higher the success rate of releasing the ninjutsu and the lower the risk. High-pressure water jet is a typical example of a ninjutsu without a hand seal that is easily interrupted. Its release principle is to instantly extract a large amount of water-style chakra, compress the water-style chakra to the extreme to form a high-pressure water ball, and finally open a small opening on its surface. The high-pressure water jet will be activated instantly, destroying everything in front of it. Just thinking about it makes you realize how much pressure would be inside the water sphere to create a high-powered water jet. If the release is interrupted and causes an explosion, what enormous damage will it cause to Grey Glass's body? Furthermore, since the main power of this technique comes from pressure, its power decreases sharply with distance after testing. The best attack range for this technique is at point-blank range. Once the distance exceeds 3 meters, the power is less than a quarter of its original strength. It is a very dangerous close combat ninjutsu. It is slow to execute, but if fully charged, the attack speed is extremely fast. It can deliver a decisive blow when the enemy's movement is hindered. The high-pressure water jet technique is the complete opposite of Grey Glass's original corpse bone vein 10 fingers piercing technique. The 10-finger piercing shot has almost no wind-up and a long attack range. However, after the launch is completed, there is a long vacuum period, and it is necessary to wait for the bones inside the finger to grow back before it can be launched again. Both are offensive ninjutsu. The water blade has a long wind-up and the bone bullet has a long wind-up, but their power is more ferocious than the other. This can already be considered a new trump card. The news from the water release side was not bad to Hyuga, but it wasn't to the point that she couldn't even listen to Neji's words. She focused on sorting out her gains. Perhaps it was just a coincidence. Following the good news about water release and gentle fist, good news also came from wind release. Just before Kazama Etsu could complete his discharge procedures, wind release, Grey Glass finally managed to successfully use a wind release nature transformation under Kazama Etsu's guidance. The invisible wind-style chakra was like a steel wire attached to the veins in the middle of the leaf's moment. The leaf split in two. Apart from a slight hissing sound from the airflow, there were no other noises throughout the entire process. The fragile leaves, torn apart by the wind blast, are smooth and flat in the middle, without any breaks or stubs. Even the veins are separated very neatly, as if they were already broken when they grew from the tree. When wind release, Grey showed Kazama Koshi the broken but intact leaf, he immediately spat out the juice Grey had bought for him. His expression clearly showed his bitterness. He also declared that the deal was over and that he could cultivate his own wind release techniques from now on, and that he should not come looking for him again. Judging from his depressed state, he has clearly suffered a great blow. Shadow clones are simply invincible. The memories, knowledge, and instincts that kept flooding into her mind, as well as the feeling of having practiced them 1,000 times, left Hyuga feeling exhausted yet intensely excited. Isn't this the system from the novels of my past life in the time it takes to receive memories? Grey Glass's tired brain has already taken flight. We have to let them fly. The combined results of her 3 clones' day-long training were so overwhelming, it felt like her brain had been filled with mercury, making it impossible for her to think. She even nearly fell asleep on her way home after separating from Neji. The greater the reward, the greater the effort required. Shadow clones are ultimately not a system cheat. But for Grey Glass, that was enough. Let's maintain this pace and keep moving forward. The path to the sun has gradually begun to shine. With time, it will eventually become the only blazing sun in the ninja world in the near future, a sight for all to look up to. End of this chapter. Chapter 88 The Wind Rises. Chapter 88 The Wind Rises. Early morning. The gray-tiled eaves cut through the faint light of dawn, and the five-lobed bamboo curtain gently tapped on the door frame in the morning breeze. The Haddock clan's residence was shrouded in a thin mist, like a sharp blade sheathed. "Gray glass, I am going out. Be careful on the road and come back soon." "Hee, got it." Wearing a bright green bodysuit, Akai grinned, showing off his shiny teeth, and waved to Huey while carrying his luggage. Yesterday, he received an A-rank escort mission at the Hokage building to escort a caravan to the capital of the Land of Fire. The reward for the mission was exceptionally generous, even to an exaggerated degree. The capital of the Land of Fire is the most prosperous city in the world, where you can buy anything. "Gray glass, what do you want?" "I'll bring it back for you when I go back to the village." Akai's eyebrows twitched, his excitement at leaving the village evident. Gray glass remained expressionless. He remained unmoved by Akai's so-called gift. There are many gifts in this world that can excite her. The sealing scrolls of the 5 great ninja villages, the Rinnegan, Hashirama cells, the Manjikayo Sharingan, the tailed beasts, sage mode, but none of these things she wanted could be bought with money. "Bring the money back to me, and don't spend it recklessly, okay?" Akai's lips twitched down, and he looked disappointed. Gray glass is good in every way. She's beautiful, exceptionally talented, and has lofty goals. Her advantages are countless. It's just that her personality is too rational. You can hardly see any emotional fluctuations in him normally. In Akai's imagination, his daughter should be cute and affectionate every day, as adorable as a glutinous rice ball. But gray glass is just a lump of iron wrapped in a thin layer of skin. Kai still remembers the pain of kicking Huey's arm, which caused half of his body to go numb. "I wish Huey could call me Dad." In a moment of madness, Akai blurted out what was on his mind. "Little gray glass, can you call me Daddy? Get out of here." "Hey, that's good." Seeing Huey raise her little fist, with distorted chakra light even appearing on the knuckles, Bai carried his luggage and fled in panic, not daring to look back. If he wasn't mistaken, it should be a nature transformation of wind release. Getting hit by this thing is no joke. Saying, "When did she learn to use wind release?" As Akai ran quickly, his mind involuntarily fell into deep thought. Huey's progress is too fast. It's simply beyond reason. Could it be that by the time he returns from his mission, Huey will have already graduated from the ninja academy? Watching Gai's fleeting figure, Huey slowly withdrew her chakra. Hiss! The airflow twisted on the fist, producing a strange sound like airflow passing through teeth during breathing. "Open your palms." Wind release chakra detached from his fist and gathered at his fingertips. Huey raised her index finger and stroked the door frame, the chakra at her fingertip humming. "I gently wiped the wooden grain of the door frame with my fingers." Noisy exclamation, noisy exclamation. The patterns on the door frame cracked instantly after Gray Glass's finger moved across them. The surface looked as if it had been sliced by a blade, but the sound was like that of a chainsaw cutting. The patterns on the door frame were becoming increasingly intricate. Huey quickly withdrew her finger. "This isn't my home, so I shouldn't cause any damage." Huey was extremely satisfied with the wind-style chakra that came with a tearing effect. It hadn't been a waste of her half-month of running to the hospital every day. This wind-style chakra was indeed powerful. Her offensive capabilities have improved once again. The ability to independently cultivate and transform one's nature, and to develop unique ninjutsu, is a skill typically possessed only by ninjutsu-type jonin. Logically speaking, Huey is now ready to graduate from the Ninja Academy, participate in the Chunin exams, and begin preparing for her promotion to jonin. But she couldn't do that. With Kai going out to work, she didn't have any financial pressure for the time being. It's impossible to sacrifice your development time for a small reward for completing a task. There are still more than 5 years left before the original story begins. It's not long, it's not long, it's not short. She must make good use of this developmental period to lay a perfect foundation for herself to directly access the 6 paths. Always keep this in mind. Her biggest advantage isn't her bloodline limit, but rather the powerful intelligence that leads directly to the finale. Sometimes, what people fear most is not reaching their limits, but facing countless forks in the road and not knowing which way to go to reach the destination. But she was different. With Kaguya Otsutsuki as a reference, she was certain that she was always on the right path, without hesitation or worry about going astray. Just keep moving towards your goal. There is nothing simpler in the world anyway. Guy's timing in leaving Konoha this time wasn't particularly good. The night of the Uchiha clan's annihilation is drawing ever closer. An undercurrent of tension was palpable in the village. She had secretly observed the situation from a distance using her Byakugan. Countless chakra reactions, as dense as stars, were evenly distributed around the Uchiha clan's territory. Judging from the masks on their faces, they were clearly from the dark side and the root. 3 steps to a post, 5 steps to a sentry. The intensity of the surveillance made Grey Glass completely afraid to approach. It's estimated that even a mosquito passing by an Uchiha would be secretly followed by the Anbu to determine its gender. Huey immediately abandoned the idea of going to the Uchiha clan to plunder them. She caused trouble to gain a safe space for development, not because she was looking for trouble. The situation is the same as it was back in Mist Village. Even if she were to witness any of the famous events in the various ninja villages, she wouldn't be qualified to participate. Even the slightest breeze stirred by these events would be enough to plunge a minor character like her into crisis starting today. Her true form will spend all her time in the Forest of Death, focusing solely on practicing Gentle Fist and Wind Release. Until the Uchiha clan is wiped out, she will never set foot in the southwestern part of Konoha, where her clan resides. It's best to stay away from Konoha's Memorial Hall of Heroes, lest you run into Abaido Uchiha who comes to pay his respects to Rin. I've only just begun to understand the nature transformations of Wind Release. She already knew the details of the subsequent intensive training from the original work, without needing Kazama Koshi's guidance. Cut off the waterfall. A more accurate description would be tearing the waterfall apart. Continuously outputting wind release chakra until the terrifying wind pressure is enough to sever the waterfall signifies that the wind release nature transformation has reached a high level. As for a suitable place for cultivation, Huey has already found it thanks to the powerful detection ability of the Byakugan. That was a cliff on the north side of the Forest of Death, almost close to the edge of Konoha. There is a waterfall below the cliff. It is about 40 meters high and an astonishing 70 meters wide. It's already considered a very large waterfall. If she can cut down a waterfall of this size in one go with her wind release technique, then her ranged attack ability will reach a new level. At the same time, she can also begin to develop her own unique wind release ninjutsu. Water release. Grey Glass has already mastered the bird form in her transformation technique, and her long-cherished ability to fly will soon become a reality. Until then, once a battle breaks out, Huey could easily use wind release to fly into the sky, lock onto enemies on the ground with Byakugan, and bombard them with bullets through her fingers or water release. When the enemy finally manages to get close to her after overcoming numerous difficulties, her mastery of the 3 major martial arts styles and the invincible 8 gates will show them what true despair is. End of this chapter. Chapter 89, The Bookshelf. Chapter 89, The Bookshelf. Sungdai Tribe. Deep within the main family mansion, in a seemingly ordinary room, Hyuga Neji activated his Byakugan to observe from a great distance. Today is a day off. No need to go to school. He planned to take this opportunity to sneak into the main family's secret library and steal the secret techniques inside. Huey was still growing, so ensuring her safety was the most important thing. Therefore, his goal is also very clear. Baguasheng returning to heaven. One of the secret techniques of the Hyuga clan, known as absolute defense. It can generate a hemispherical chakra shield that covers its entire body from the ground to protect itself. It has a strong defensive effect against most ninjutsu and can also reflect physical attacks. The white of the eye's pupils is dilated. The world has become clear and transparent. Only the secret chamber in front of them still stood, its surface filled with flowing chakra that completely blocked their view. Neji was not surprised. He was like this the last time he came. The room's thick walls and doors were impenetrable, clearly indicating that a sealing technique was used to isolate the Byakugan. He activated his Byakugan not to do anything pointless, but mainly to observe the guards hidden around the secret room. The invisible eye power acted like sonar, transmitting all the dark corners of the room back into Neji's mind. 2 bright, 4 dark. There were 6 guards in total. Neji was familiar with them all. Due to the restrictions imposed by the main family's secret techniques, there were not many skilled members in the branch family to begin with. Most of them were his father Hyuga Hisashi's trusted former subordinates. After my father passed away, these people often visited him or invited him to their homes. Some of them even treated him as the future head of a branch family. He used to dislike the identity of the head of the branch family, always feeling that he was aiding and abetting evil. Now, he is actually somewhat relieved. Without this identity, the hope of separating from the family and freeing the caged bird would probably be even more remote. Neji scanned the surroundings, checking for any traces of the main branch of the family. His uncles, who had separated from the family, wouldn't care that he had secretly learned secret techniques, but he knew that secretly learning secret techniques was no small matter. The difference between conspiracy and dereliction of duty is enormous. People turning a blind eye is out of respect for his deceased father. He can't take advantage of his status to act recklessly and cause trouble for others. Neji-san, I'm a little scared. Shut up. Hinata looked miserable, lowered her head, and stood obediently behind Neji. This morning we practiced soft boxing together. Neji threatened to reveal the secret technique to outsiders, demanding that Neji take him into the secret library to secretly learn the technique. That place is an extremely important hiding place for the Hyuga clan's secret techniques. It contains all of the Hyuga clan's gentle fist techniques from the Warring States period to the present, except for the caged bird seal. Some soft boxing techniques are incomplete, only half developed, and some are extremely difficult to practice and inherently dangerous. Therefore, even if the main family wants to enter, they must first obtain permission from the elders or the head of the family. If someone is caught secretly learning something, they will be severely punished. Hinata was terrified. However, considering Huilai's fear of death and the fact that she had the leverage to reveal the clan's secret techniques, the so-called crime of stealing secret techniques was still too light. Between two evils, choose the lesser. With no other choice, Hinata could only follow Neji and help him steal the secret technique. Neji observed for a moment, then turned to look at Hinata behind him. Have you memorized all the sales pitches I taught you? I'm almost forgetting everything. Neji rolled his eyes, nearly choking on his own breath. There were only 2 sentences, and I'm already forgetting them all right after I taught them. Such a person is the future heir to the main family, or even the future leader of the Hyuga clan. Can you imagine how terrifying that is? Neji suppressed his resentment. Some things shouldn't be thought about too much. The more you think about them, the more unbalanced you feel. The only consolation he found was that at least Harry wasn't as foolish and cowardly as Hinata. If Hinata and Harry were to switch places, he would rather believe that the main family would release the caged bird seal on their own than believe that Hinata could lead him to overthrow the main family. Think about it. Hinata being like this might be a good thing. With such an heir in the main family, wouldn't it save me and Huilai a lot of trouble? Neji changed his perspective, suddenly understood, and his gaze towards Hinata softened considerably. Then I'll tell you again, remember, it was the clan chief who sent us here, okay? Neji's gentle voice eased Hinata's tension slightly. Listening to Neji's gentle and soft-spoken story, Hinata felt as if Neji from 3 years ago had returned. Does that mean Neji isn't angry with me anymore? Hinata was overjoyed. Since Neji was branded with the caged bird seal, the two who grew up together could never go back to the past, but unexpectedly, things seem to have taken a turn for the better. Do you remember everything? Neji frowned as he looked at Hinata, who was lost in thought. Huh? I didn't hear you. Hinata shrank back in fear. Neji's current appearance was exactly like her father scolding her, and muscle memory made her voice tremble. Neji gritted his teeth, his fists hardening. I don't know whether I should be happy or sad. Harry is the same age as Hinata. One can already kick a Jonin to pieces, while the other can't even learn to speak properly. The vast difference between his two younger sisters was something he found extremely difficult to adapt to. But Huilai's secret technique cannot go wrong. No matter how many times he has to practice, he must memorize the Bagua palm, return to heaven completely and send it to her as soon as possible. Hey tilde Neji let out a long, leisurely sigh. It's okay, Hinata. Let's try again. Make sure you remember this time, okay? Tilde okay. Hinata nodded obediently, her cute little face showing a bewildered expression. Nankishan looked utterly dejected, his handsome face appearing to have aged more than 10 years. The two of them, one teaching and the other learning, spent a long time getting Hinata to remember. The subsequent theft was not difficult, rather, the biggest challenge was getting Hinata to keep from trembling and blurting out the lie. That's how it is. One is the future head of the main family, and the other is the future head of the branch family. Did they conspire to steal the family's secret techniques and give them to outsiders? It's funny to even talk about it. Who can believe it is for stealing knowledge if they want to learn, then they can learn. It has nothing to do with them anyway. When Hinata and Neji appeared in front of the secret room, they asked the guards at the door to open it. The guards opened the door without even asking any questions. He gave them a few warnings, such as not bringing paper and pens to copy things down and not damaging the sealed scroll. Seeing them nodding vigorously, he let them swagger in. Apart from the bookshelf displaying secret scrolls, there were only 2 cushions in the room. The bookshelf in the center of the room has 3 shelves. The bottom layer records basic soft fist techniques such as the soft fist method and the 32 palms of Bagua. The middle section contains intermediate secret techniques such as acupressure and reversal of death, which can only be practiced by members of the main family. The topmost layer is a huge sealed scroll which, according to the older generation, contains a large number of extremely dangerous secret techniques of the soft fist. The profound meanings of Yang Bagua, namely soft fist mountain breaking strike, and Yin Bagua, namely soft step double lion fist, are both contained within it. This scroll requires a spell to break the seal. Even taking them down required a specific technique. Neither of them were first-timers at the library, so they naturally understood the rules and didn't rashly touch anything. Subsequently, Hinata, the tool person who entered the room, sat to one side, looking nervous. Neji, on the other hand, found the scroll that recorded the return to heaven and the memories he had to fight against time to preserve. If he has enough time, he plans to try to memorize the training methods of Bagua Kancheng as well. End of this chapter. Chapter 90 Flying Swallow and Gentle Fist. Chapter 90 Flying Swallow and Gentle Fist wipe the pen tip rubs against the white paper, leaving behind a series of symbols whose meaning is unclear. A bluish-gray swift perched obediently on the table, its round, jet-black head gazing at the strange long worm on the paper, which smelled of ink, as if it wanted to taste it. Fukasawa gently pushed away the outstretched bird's beak with her fingers, then lay down on the table, writing various coded messages incessantly. A large number of Anbu personnel have been discovered near the Uchiha clan, suggesting a conflict between the Konoha leadership and the Uchiha recently. Some branch family members of the Hyuga clan have mysteriously disappeared, and the main family's defenses are becoming increasingly tight. For the time being, there is no opportunity to seize the Byakugan. The defenses around the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki are also very strict. They only loosen up slightly at the Ninja Academy. The handwriting gradually covered the white paper. Fuka Sawada rested her chin on her pen, her beautiful fox-like eyes narrowed, revealing an indescribable loneliness. Her real name is Fuka, and she was born in an unknown village in the southern part of the Land of Thunder. That day, as a child, she went to the mountains to collect herbs. A monster with orange-yellow hair and a brown body destroyed the village where she lived. She was born with the ability to communicate with animals. She learned of the terrible news from the birds and survived with the help of wild beasts until she met the ninjas of Kumigakure. Use your talent to obtain the method of passing through the Konoha barrier, and keep a close watch on the Hyuga clan to find an opportunity to steal the Hyuga Byakugan bloodline limit. If you can do any one of these things, we'll kill the monster that destroyed the village for you. That's what the man said. She had no choice. The Konoha barrier can detect chakra fluctuations, and the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan can directly see chakra light. He has no chakra and no ninjutsu. With her innate ability to communicate with animals, she thrived in Konoha 3 years ago. She learned Hinata Hyuga's location from the rats sent to the Hyuga clan's territory. If the Cloud Village guys hadn't been unlucky enough to run into Hayashi Hyuga, they would have already obtained the Byakugan's bloodline limit. That same year, using her exceptional beauty, she took advantage of the old gatekeeper's drunken and lax attitude, drugged him, and imprisoned him in her home. Unexpectedly, to this day, they have still been unable to extract the secrets of Konoha from him. The harsh punishment affected not only the old woman, but also subtly changed her. The interrogation took too long. She always felt that she was covered in an unpleasant, bloody stench, which even the strongest perfume seemed unable to mask. A faint sob drifted from the prison cell, a reminder that there was no turning back. It's unknown when she will be able to complete her mission and avenge her deceased loved ones. A deep-seated hatred surfaced in Feng Yue's eyes. The pen tip glides across the limited blank space at the bottom of the white paper, and the intelligence must be sorted according to its importance. The Uchiha clan members are listed first because they are more important. The Hyuga clan and the Nine Tails are less important. The least important ones are listed at the bottom or on the back. It's usually about what she saw and heard in Konoha. For example, Konoha's new generation genius, Sunburst Gray, possesses a water release technique without a seal, which is suspected to be a bloodline limit. Once the intelligence was written down, it was sealed in an iron tube about the size of a finger. Upon seeing this, the swift that was lying on the table stood up and stretched out its left foot toward Sawada Fuka. Chirp, chirp. Come on. Heh, good boy. Sawada Fuka squinted, scratched the swift's head, and tied the intelligence in her hand to its left leg. Be careful on the road. Plop! Exclamation. The swift flew out of the window, and with a tumble, it soared straight into the sky. After the rain, the sky clears up. Sunlight spilled onto its back, gilding the swallowtail that maintained its balance, and it swiftly swept past the increasingly tiny leaves, entering the dense sky above the death forest. When passing the north side of the jungle, boom boom, the loud sound of water, carrying a slight coolness, made the swifts involuntarily look down. It was a waterfall at the foot of a cliff. A figure, barely a tiny dot, stood horizontally on the cliff like a flag, its hands aimed at the constantly falling water, seemingly doing something. Humans are so boring. The swift flew swiftly, heading northeast. Below, wind release. Gray Glass ignored the thunderous sound of water around him and gathered his hands together in front of his chest. Transparent wind-style chakra gathered in his palm, emitting a faint buzzing sound. Compared to the magnificent waterfall, the weak wind-style chakra is like the difference between an ant and an elephant. Wind release, tearing apart the waterfall. Enduring the icy water splashing wildly across his face, his clothes already soaked. Wind release. Gray Glass could only say that this method of training was indeed very imaginative. But just as the shadow clone was unaware of Yuyan's thoughts, Huey was also unaware of the shadow clone's complaints. A clearing not far from the cliff. Roll your eyes open. The swirling chakra transformed into ashes, enveloping the surrounding world. The invisible vision is like a giant barrier, detecting everything around it. Huey inspected them one by one. Tweet! Flocks of sparrows chirped and hopped on the branches, while a violet-black snake with a purplish-black tongue slithered into the grass, and 2 or 3 fat rats with red eyes nibbled on the weeds. There were no Anbu personnel monitoring them, and no unusual chakra reactions. The animals around were ordinary animals, and they didn't have chakra in their bodies, so they were definitely not ninja beasts raised by ninjas. Very safe. Huey relaxed a little. I have memorized all the diagrams of Byakugan. She will practice Byakugan in the Forest of Death. As is widely known, Gentle Fist is a taijutsu at the bloodline limit level, and only members of the Hyuga clan with the Byakugan can learn it. If it were discovered that she could also practice Byakugan, her Byakugan bloodline would be exposed instantly. Therefore, she specifically sought out a remote place far away from Konoha. The eyes of both the Anbu and Root were now focused on the Uchiha. Hiruzen Sarutobai's telescope technique requires him to understand a person's chakra characteristics in order to monitor them with a crystal ball. When Hyuga entered Konoha, he briefly suppressed his chakra synthesis. The Konoha barrier didn't record her chakra fluctuations at all, so Hiruzen Sarutobai couldn't obtain her chakra characteristics, thus fundamentally preventing the telescope technique from monitoring her. The surveillance mission on Might Guy's side also indirectly corroborated Grey Glass's speculation. Take off the outer cloak. Aim at an innocent banyan tree. Wearing only a black tight-fitting short-sleeved shirt underneath, Huey stretched out one hand in front and the other hand to protect her lower back, with her shoulders relaxed, elbows dropped, chest slightly concave, and back straight, assuming the starting stance of Byakugan. Silently, a visible cluster of chakra had appeared in his palm, like the taut lines of muscles twisted together like steel bars. He swung his palm out, the wind howled. The azure light left after images in the air. Snapped! A palm carrying chakra strikes the tree trunk. Muscle swelling. The powerful force was unleashed instantly, and the tree bark burst open like fish scales in boiling oil. Leaves fell one after another. Huey shook her head, shaking off all the leaves from her hair. A buzzing wind-style chakra gathered at his fingertips, and his transparent nails sliced across the tree trunk, the razor-sharp wind-style chakra instantly peeling away the bark. Beneath the bark, the moist, bright yellow wood had been loosened by the concentrated palm force, but there were no signs of chakra invasion or damage. Clearly, its power was not fully in sync with the chakra. The ability to generate such power is a product of Huey's extraordinary strength, not due to the power of Byakugan. The essence of Gentle Fist, Byakugan, lies in the perfect coordination of chakra and the physical body. The moment the palm strikes the enemy, the power of the physical technique and chakra are simultaneously injected into the enemy's body. You need to be able to multitask. Although there was no change in nature, it could already be considered a type of ninjutsu, which was completely different from the Taketori Ryu and Gakuen Ryu styles she had previously practiced. Fortunately, she had the foundation in Gentle Fist that Hinata Tensei had helped her build. Although the practice of Byakugan is difficult, it is not like starting from scratch. Neji, who had already mastered Byakugan to a certain extent, could ask questions about the problems he had accumulated during the day's training in the evening. The speed will not be slow. End of this chapter. Chapter 91, The Flow of the Sun. Chapter 91, The Flow of the Sun. Boom boom, the waterfall cascades down, crashing against the rocks, creating splashes in the pool and leaving foam on the polished surface of the rocks. Wind release. Grey Glass stood on the cliff face, the chakra on the soles of his shoes firmly adhering to the smooth moss on the rock surface. Hands are in a claw shape, palms facing outwards. Give it a hard tug! Chinese letter! The chakra that had been condensed enough instantly erupted with a powerful wind pressure, like two invisible giant hands tearing the waterfall apart from above and below. While the water curtain was torn apart by the wind pressure, moving up and down. Wind release. Gray Glass showed no joy whatsoever. His lips were pressed tightly together, and his face was wet, indistinguishable between sweat and the spray from a waterfall. The water falling from a height can weigh tens or even hundreds of tons per second, and the wind pressure is used to counteract such a terrifying force. The terrifying pressure it brought made Hyuga feel her body trembling from the rapidly outputting chakra. Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain in the veins of my hand. Hyuga's hands trembled. Boom! The surging water instantly broke through the wind's resistance and poured onto the reef. Watching the water burst open. Wind release. Gray Glass's chest heaved rapidly as he gasped for breath. The power of wind release has two aspects. First, it must be precise enough so that the two wind pressures can act on the same point. The more precise the action, the sharper it becomes. The second point is instantaneous output. In an instant, it released a massive amount of wind release chakra, enough to tear apart a waterfall. Just imagine what would happen if this level of force were used to tear apart a human body, and what about the incredibly precise control? Kazama Etsu once described that legendary realm to Harry. If one day Gray Glass can truly release hundreds of tons of pressure in an instant and precisely target a single cell, that would be incredible. That is the ultimate level of wind release ninjas. Under the hurricane, nothing in the world is beyond cutting. Harry rejected the promises made by Kazama Koshi. Who would practice with you here like that? That only exists in the fantasies of wind-style ninjas who have gone mad from practicing. Reaching the highest realm. Is it possible to attain the 6 realms? She planned to master wind release before fusing it with bloodline limits. Something tangible and real. The truth-seeking ball, wasn't it far more powerful than any supreme realm? Wind release. Gray Glass panted as he waited for the meridians in his palm, which had been injured by the excessive wind release, to heal on their own. The fact that the shadow clone's injuries were healed is somewhat humane. Minor injuries barely perceptible to the naked eye wouldn't cause the shadow clone to dissipate. Otherwise it wouldn't be her shadow clone suffering on the cliff, but rather her original body leisurely below. Wind release. Gray Glass watched Gray Glass below, who was slowly waving her hands in the air as she gathered chakra, and mentally complained. Ignore the special effects in the center of the palm. From the perspective of the original body, it looks remarkably like an old man in a park in my previous life, slowly and leisurely practicing Tai Chi. Extend your palm forward. The power was contained and not released. The chakra, as fine as a needle, emitted a strange rhythm within the acupoints. Hyuga closed her eyes, carefully sensing the movement patterns of the soft fist. Soft fist and conventional martial arts follow two completely opposite paths. Normal taijutsu also requires chakra. However, it's not about firing chakra like bullets. Instead, it utilizes the chakra's ability to enhance the body, creating a complete power chain through powerful taijutsu techniques. It involves mobilizing as many of the enhanced muscles as possible and then unleashing all the power at once. The representative taijutsu style is Might Guy's Konoha Gauken Ryu. In the philosophy of Gauken, the more muscles you can engage, the stronger and more powerful your fighting techniques will be. Therefore, most of the physical techniques in Ganken Ryu consist of wide, sweeping leg movements. Each kick utilizes the full power of the body, as well as the twisting and rotating force of the waist. His most typical signature move is the Leaf Whirlwind. This move perfectly embodies the philosophy of the Golden Fist style. The concept of Ganken perfectly aligned with Hyuga's body control philosophy, so she learned almost all of Ganken in just one morning. The Bamboo Clan also has its own school of martial arts. Most members of the Kaguya clan awaken the first stage of the Shikotsumyaku corpse bone pulse around the age of 10. This is the corpse part. which allows them to control their physical body to a certain extent. With immense strength, superhuman self-healing ability, and impervious to pain, he fights like an immortal zombie. The physical techniques used by their clan are called Tenkori Ryu. Known for its elegant yet terrifying style, it is referred to as battle dance or bamboo cutter battle dance by outsiders. This martial arts style originated from ancient rituals and battle dances, and is extremely well suited to the physical condition of the bamboo cutter clan. The movements are half elegant and graceful, expansive and powerful, and half ruthless and vicious, concealing deadly intent. If the Hyuga clan is like Byakugan 8 trigrams palm, then the Taketori lineage has a bit of the essence of Tai Chi. For the Taketori, who have a high degree of control over their bodies, the combination of strength and gentleness is a basic skill that every child in the clan can master. With such a powerful physique, coupled with the dazzling bamboo cutter battle dance, the title of the #1 taijutsu family in Kirigakure firmly belongs to the bamboo cutter clan. The physical techniques used by Kimimaro in the original work belong to the swordsmanship branch of the Taketori Ryu school. He appears elegant and haughty, like a noble young master from ancient times now. Hyuga combines 3 martial arts styles into one, carefully experiencing the differences between them, and discovers that Gentle Fist is very different from both. The Power Fist is the perfect embodiment of strength and speed, emphasizing pure power. The War Dance combines strength and grace, elegance and hidden danger, embodying a sense of balance. Gentle Fist excludes the Yang Bagua and relies entirely on chakra to penetrate the enemy's internal organs to strike. Once a hit is landed, the rest of the combo is complete, making it a one-hit kill technique. Therefore, soft boxing does not have conventional high-powered kicks and punches. Strike the enemy's pressure points directly. You don't need to use much power. The main offensive method is a combination of palm strikes, finger strikes, and footwork. The second key point is accuracy and speed. Chakra moves freely within the body, moving with perfect precision. Like a drawn bow, a light touch of the finger sends hidden force into the enemy's body. Once the chakra was sealed, the battle ended immediately. When Hyuga was practicing Byakugan, she discovered that this secret technique required a high level of pupil power in the white eye, but was not restricted by physical movements. It can be used in conjunction with other schools of thought. Hard fist and soft fist are very different. However, she happens to know the Taketori Ryu style, a martial art that combines both strength and flexibility. If she could use the Taketori Ryu style, she could integrate the soft and hard styles into one. Take the essence and discard the dross. She may be able to create her own unique sun-chasing style martial arts technique. If the Yang Bagua part is combined with chakra nature transformation, a Bagua empty palm strike can be delivered with a special effect of wind release, thus completely combining ninjutsu and taijutsu. He went further and further down the path of becoming the strongest taijutsu ninja. Strange and wonderful ideas kept popping up in Hyuga's mind, like the rolling waves in a nearby pool, as chakra circulated. She had a strong premonition. The moment Ryu reached her complete form marked the beginning of her journey to cage level and her entry into the ranks of the strongest ninjas in the world. End of this chapter. Chapter 92, Form 1, Sky Rift. Chapter 92 1 Style, Sky-Splitting Forest of Death. Below the cliff waterfall, the sunset glow flowed through the forest like an overturned honey jar, sifting the last handful of gold from the treetops. A few sparrows fluttered and chirped among the trees, as if trying to dispel the chill spreading through the damp air. The shadow clone standing on the cliff deactivated itself after its chakra was exhausted. Despite her exhaustion, Hyuga stepped on the Bagua symbol and her hands moved like butterflies. Every now and then he would unleash a seemingly effortless Bagua palm strike. The deep blue chakra light drew graceful arcs in the air, and combined with its agile movements, it resembled more of an elegant and beautiful dance than a fighting technique. If Neji were standing here, he would be surprised to find at this moment, what Hyuga was using was not Byakugan at all, but some kind of unknown taijutsu. but it used the chakra techniques of Byakugan. Each attack was a combination of chakra and taijutsu. Unbeknownst to her, Hyuga had already mastered the basics of Byakugan. However, instead of seeking the so-called Bagua 64 palms, she combined the principles of Bagua palm with the techniques of the Taketori Ryu school, imbuing each move with the elegance and brilliance of Taketori. With a flick of the wrist, a gleaming palm gently pressed against the surface of the tree trunk. There was a flash of light. Hyuga paused for half a second, then nimbly leaped to the side. A sound like something breaking came from inside the banyan tree twitter. The sparrows nesting in the trees cried out in terror, and the violently shaking tree canopy caused them to take flight as if startled. Gradually, the massive banyan tree slid down the spot where the gray glass had struck it, until it could no longer hold on. Boom! The tilted tree canopy, under the force of gravity, struck the ground where gray glass had just stood, raising a cloud of yellowish-brown dust in the air. A strong wind rose. An invisible wind swept away the dust and smoke in the air, along with the sparrows that were preparing to launch a feces urine attack on gray glass. Air currents surround you. Gray glass tore through the smoke and dust, and the power of the white eye enveloped the thick tree stump on the ground, testing the results of his cultivation. I saw. The wood of the tree stump that was struck by gray glass's palm had been shattered by the force. However, the palm strike only pierced through 1/3 of the tree trunk. The remaining 2/3 had a smooth, mirror-like cut, an extremely clean cut. Hyuga looked with delight at the horrific wounds on the banyan tree. This is the sun-chasing stream she imagined. This technique is derived from the bamboo cutter battle dance, which combines strength and gentleness. It uses the extreme power of the hard fist and the precision and speed of the soft fist to directly inject chakra that has undergone wind release nature transformation into the enemy's body. It's like hammering in a nail. A strong fist is a hammer. The soft fist is a nail. Once the wind release chakra is injected, a terrifying tearing effect will begin to erupt. Hyuga didn't know what acupoint striking was. She only knew that the agile and sharp wind pressure was poured directly into the acupoints, enough to tear the enemy's meridians and flesh and bones apart. Of course, powerful effects inevitably come with drawbacks. Nothing is perfect. The prerequisites for cultivating the sun-chasing stream are also incredibly terrifying. Only by mastering the Byakugan's chakra control, the wind releases nature transformation, and the Shikotsumyaku's physical control, these 3 major taijutsu styles, can one officially begin practicing the sunrise style. Looking at the ninja world as a whole, only Harry and Kaguya Otsutsuki, who has not yet broken free from her seal, could meet these stringent conditions. The prerequisites are stringent, and the subsequent practice is equally challenging. That seemingly ordinary and casual strike was actually the result of multitasking, even doing 3 or 4 things at once. It required extremely high levels of physical strength, mental agility, ocular power, and chakra nature transformation. Hyuga's palm strike had actually been brewing for several minutes, and after countless failures, she finally succeeded on her first attempt. Luck played a large part. Furthermore, ninja battles often end in seconds. In actual combat, no one can stand still like a tree, waiting for her to gather her strength and unleash a powerful strike. The daily style is still in its infancy and needs to be practiced and developed to become fully mature before it can be considered a true school of thought. Gray glass is still a long way off. Once her daily stream has fully taken shape, that's a ninjutsu even more terrifying than the Cloud Village's Lightning Release Chakra Mode. Hyuga even dared to say that the limit of the sun-chasing style is the pinnacle of ninjutsu. This move is called the Sun Flows Daily. A single move cleaves the sky. Hyuga gave this attack, which almost integrated all of her abilities, a nice name. All beginnings are hard. With the initial creation of the ninja body technique successfully completed, Hyuga was in high spirits. The joy of becoming stronger lessened the fatigue of 3 days of training. Don't ask her why it's 3 days. Both her water release and wind release clones have been deactivated, and the current fatigue is equivalent to 3 days' worth of fatigue. In fact, given her physical strength and bloodline ability, she should be able to withstand much more fatigue. But she didn't have enough chakra. Having mastered the 8 gates, she integrated the life force that naturally dissipated from her body using the power of the Gate of Life, and her normal chakra level was roughly at the middle level among Jonin. Separating 2 clones to practice the extremely chakra-intensive water release and wind release techniques was already close to her limit. Any more words? The only option is to open the injury gate of the 8 gates formation and forcibly exchange life force for chakra, trading lifespan for cultivation speed. She is not in immediate danger, her chakra is still growing, and she has not encountered any bottlenecks on her path to becoming stronger. She doesn't really want to take such an extreme route. The feeling of physical fatigue intensified. The power of the pupil spreads throughout the body. Physical domination was quietly initiated. After the nerve signals are blocked by the cerebral cortex and the physical sense of fatigue is blocked out, only a strong sense of joy remains in the brain. She is not the type to endure hardship without facing it. Relying on bloodline ability, she shields herself from the pain that comes with each cultivation session. It's like only enjoying the sweetness of becoming stronger through cultivation, without enduring the pain that follows. The more I practice, the more I want to practice. I wonder if this joyful cultivation process will become addictive broken. Akai, this cultivation fanatic, could he be addicted to cultivation? Thinking of the 2nd gate in the 8 gates formation, the gate of rest can block out physical fatigue. Huey suddenly understood Might Guy doing push-ups and frog jumps anytime, anywhere on the street. I hope I haven't caught Might Guy's virus! Huey shivered. Quickly pick up the now cold cloak and put it over yourself. She didn't want to be wearing a green bodysuit and doing frog jumps on the streets of Konoha with Might Guy in the future. If that scene were to actually occur, then it's possible that Kaguya Otsutsuki wasn't the only one attempting to destroy the ninja world. It seems I need to be more restrained in my cultivation in the future. Maybe I should take a day off tomorrow. Dressed neatly, Grey Glass pondered to herself. Grey Glass. Sudden, Neji's joyful voice could be heard from afar. Huey looked up and saw Neji activating his Byakugan, holding 2 scrolls in his hands, and rapidly leaping between tree branches. Between several takeoffs and landings, he was already standing in front of her. Here you go. The Bagua palm, Heaven's return, and the Bagua empty palm you requested. Neji's handsome face broke into a proud smile as he handed the scrolls directly to Harry. So fast. Huey was overjoyed and quickly took it to look through it. Neji's efficiency is on a completely different level compared to Hinata's. Take your time to learn Bagua palm. I'll practice the acupoint striking part of Bagua palm with you first. It is good. Huey nodded casually, her mind completely absorbed in the scroll's mysterious secrets. As for the holiday plan that had just been set, she had already forgotten about it. End of this chapter. Chapter 93 Exposed. Chapter 93 Exposed. Twitter sparrows hopped around on the corner of the table, their voices high-pitched and shrill. Soaked in sweat and dressed in light clothing, Fuka Sawada craned her neck to listen attentively. Press the spray bottle with your finger. Chinese letter tilde fragrant perfume sprayed mist from the bottle, masking the strong, fishy stench on his body. Sparrows are the most numerous creatures among the leaves. Being common means not easily attracting attention, making it ideal as her eyes and ears. You mean a female monster with a blindfold destroyed your best friend's house? Fuka Sawada carefully discerned the sparrow's language, her brow furrowed. Nothing else. Birds' language systems differ greatly from humans, and their chirping often includes a lot of profanity, making them quite difficult to translate. Chirp. The sparrow chirped twice more, seemingly calmer, its voice no longer shrill. Then a human with white eyes ran over, gave the female monster 2 scrolls, and then the two of them danced in the woods. Upon hearing the keywords, Fukasawa wrote down the information provided by the sparrow on a piece of paper and analyzed it bit by bit. The monster with white eyes is clearly a standard feature of the Hyuga clan. A female monster with her eyes covered by a cloth strip can snap a tree trunk in half with a single slap. There aren't many blind people in Konoha, and the only one who fits the description of the sparrow is that genius, Ashikaga. Fukasawa quickly recalled the silver-haired blind girl who had been adopted by Might Guy at the government building. Rumor has it that when he enrolled at the Ninja Academy, he beat up a Jonin teacher so badly that he was hospitalized. He was a genius ninja. As a spy for Kumagakure, she had been secretly monitoring the other party's news, and when she reported on the Uchiha clan's intelligence last time, she also passed on some of their information to Kumagakure. The intelligence should still be on its way. White hair. Grumble. When asked, Sparrow nodded vigorously. Then it's definitely correct. The female monster on Sawada Fuka paper was replaced with the character gray, and the white eye was replaced with sun. Connect the gray and sun with a line. Ash Blossom met a member of the Hyuga clan, who gave her 2 scrolls, and then the two danced together. Fukasawa circled the dancing and the scroll again, pondering for a long time. His eyes suddenly lit up! 2 people are practicing some kind of technique! If it's dancing rather than hand seals, then it can only be taijutsu physical techniques, and the only taijutsu unique to the Hyuga clan is Gentle Fist. Ashitaru might be training in the Gentle Fist of the Hyuga clan. The training location is in a secluded place like the Death Forest, so it's very likely that they were learning by stealing knowledge. Fukasawa was startled by the information she had suddenly received. Gentle Fist is a secret taijutsu technique that only Byakugan bloodline users can practice, a fact known to everyone in the ninja world. Ju Ryui practices Soft Fist. 2 possibilities. First, she found a way to practice Soft Fist without being glared at. Second, she is the possessor of the White Eye bloodline. Her so-called blindness and the blindfold are just a smokescreen. Fukasawa's eyes flickered uncertainly, her thumb constantly rubbing the pen. Reason told her, the most likely scenario is the first one. The Hyuga clan's emphasis on the Byakugan has reached an abnormal level. Even their own brothers are trained to use the caged bird technique, making it impossible for any Hyuga clan member to be separated from the clan. The probability of encountering a wild white-eyed creature is incredibly low. But what if the situation is really the second one? Fukasawa's heart was pounding. That meant her dark espionage career was about to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that freak named Jugo, who had destroyed her hometown, was about to die for his crimes! Dong dong! A surge of emotion welled up in my chest. Fukasawa's beautiful face flushed with excitement. Wow! She pulled out the drawer under the desk. I pulled out a large bag of wriggling mealworms and spread them out on the table. Grumble! The sparrows cheered and jumped for joy. It tapped its head little by little, making a clanging sound on the table. Finally, still not satisfied, he plunged headfirst into the swarm of insects and rolled around in it. The yellow worm of the cricket pupa wriggles over the bird's eye, waiting for the sparrows to eat their fill and fly away. Sawada Fuka tidied her desk and picked up her pen to draft a new intelligence report. She couldn't be sure whether Ash Blossom possessed the Byakugan. She doesn't need to confirm it. The group of brutes in the Hidden Cloud village were extremely eager to acquire Byakugan bloodline talent, and they would not let go of any opportunity. After being arrested, if you give them the cold shoulder. Her mission was then complete. If not, she wouldn't have suffered any loss after all. She was just an ordinary person without chakra, and had no ability to capture the monster that could break a giant banyan tree with a single palm strike. Wipe the pen tip swiftly glides across the white paper. The distorted coded messages all seemed to carry a sense of elation. This time, the intelligence report contained neither Uchiha nor Hyuga members. The one firmly occupying the top spot is a bloodline ninja named Ashite of the Sun. Konoha Memorial Monument. The wind was quite noisy in the evening. A mysterious masked figure wearing a black cloak with red clouds kneels on one knee and places flowers flat in front of the tombstone. Beneath the orange, distorted mask, a blood-red single eye gleamed with an eerie light gurgle. It was as if something was growing from the earth. Just a moment. The dried pitcher plants then gradually emerged from the ground. Abaido, call me Madara. Abaido Uchiha slowly turned around, looking at the pitcher plant that had opened slowly at some point, his crimson eye surging with power. I misspoke again. Baiju raised his voice in an annoying tone, making it hard to tell whether it was accidental or intentional. Abaido, preoccupied with remembering his lover, paid no attention to the white Zetsu's performance. Tell me something. Fugaku Uchiha has lost control of the rioting Uchiha. Those idiots have secretly decided to rebel against Konoha. Ah, good news. The 3 Tomo jade ornaments rotate continuously. Abaido's eye power seemed to be boiling with excitement at this excellent news. The Manjikyo Sharingan of the Uchiha clan is too uncertain. Perhaps one day, a genius might accidentally awaken the Manjikyo Sharingan, which could lead to the failure of the Eye of the Moon project. The more Abaido used those eyes, the more he could perceive the threat the Uchiha clan posed to him. Slaughtering the Uchiha clan will ensure that the power of the Sharingan will not become an obstacle. Having killed his teacher and his wife, there was no turning back for him. The Eye of the Moon plan must be executed safely and flawlessly, otherwise Abaido dared not even think about that possibility, as it would mean the complete collapse of his life. I did this for Lin, so that everyone can have a bright future. Abaido hypnotized himself internally. What about Itachi Uchiha? He's still hesitating. Black Jew's somber voice slowly echoed in the darkness. The dark flesh was barely visible to the naked eye in the increasingly dim light. Didn't he say himself that he wanted to preserve the last honor of the Uchiha clan? Why did he hesitate at the crucial moment? After all, they destroyed their own family with their own hands, so it's understandable that they'd be lenient. Shut up. Black Zetsu glared at White Zetsu, interrupting him. If Itachi is normal, then Abaido must be abnormal! This person really doesn't know how to talk. Abaido ignored the 2 monsters in front of him. Hurry him up, I don't have much time. Distorted spatial fluctuations spread across the mask's single eye, and Abaido's voice suddenly became ethereal. Yes, until Abaido's figure disappeared, black and white exchanged a single glance. The pitcher plant slowly sank. It completely disappeared into the earth. End of this chapter. Chapter 94 Yunyin. Chapter 94 Yunyin. 3 days later. The Country of Thunder, Yunyin Village. Training grounds at the Dark Army base. Absolutely devastating. Thunderous plow, fiery blade. Amidst terrifying roars. 2 tall figures, bathed in lightning, like thunder gods conquering heaven and earth, suddenly charged towards each other. Sizizi! Exclamation! There was a flash of lightning. The ground was carved out of a chasm by the terrifying acceleration! Exclamation! Boom! Exclamation! 2 strong arms, crackling with blue lightning, collided violently. Noisy exclamation! Crack! The lightning armor shone brightly, and the stalemate continued for a long time. The increasingly dazzling lightning spread in the center of the training ground, and for a moment it seemed to be brighter than the sun in the sky. Cool. The electric light on his robust body dimmed again. Dark Army Captain Yui felt extremely comfortable during this morning exercise, and all the tense muscles in his body relaxed a lot. Damn it, sitting in the office all day, my body's going to rust. I'm constantly dealing with intelligence, it's so damn annoying. Snapped exclamation! A bare paw slaps the back of the head. Who the hell are you calling father? With his white hair and beard, Yuikshin glared and puffed out his cheeks. His brown skin was covered with bulging muscles that resembled the roots of an ancient tree, and he was much larger than Yui. Yui, who was fearless and treated his mother like a kama, suddenly shrank back in fright. No, Dad, I wasn't talking about you. You're the weakest in the whole family. If you don't become the leader of the Dark Guard, who will? Damn it, I'm so brave. How did I give birth to such a piece of trash like you? Yi Yuexing's voice was loud and clear, like the tolling of a bell on the training field. No, Dad, give me some face outside, Yi Yue said, glancing around and glaring away any glances that drifted towards him. Your Lightning Release Chakra Mode is utterly terrible, and you still want to save face. Looking at Yi Yue's shifty-eyed appearance, Yi Yuexing got angry. Since its founding, the Night Moon clan has maintained a firm grip on the political center of Cloud Village. It wasn't for any other reason than that they were strong enough. So strong that even if they promoted their family's secret lightning release armor to the entire village, no one could rival them. Everyone practices the same secret technique, but the Night Moon clan is simply stronger than you. The capable ones go up, the mediocre ones go down. So strong that it's truly admirable. This is why Kumagakure became the most united ninja village in the entire ninja world. Apart from Kinkaku and Jinkaku, Kumagakure has almost never had any rogue ninjas. The rule of the strong prevailing over the weak is the absolute rule of the Hidden Cloud Village, and it is also the rule of the Night Moon clan. Every time the Reikage is selected, all the elite Jonin of the Yatsuki clan gathered together to form the strongest group, and they took turns dueling to compete for the position of Reikage. As for the Dark Forces captain, whom no one wants to be, the selection rules are completely the opposite. The weakest among the elite Jonin are chosen through a duel to become the weakest member, who then becomes the captain of the complex Anbu, working in an office handling documents. In the clan competition, you couldn't beat anyone. You've completely humiliated me. Yi Yuexing slapped his old face repeatedly. Back in the day, I was the one who competed with the third Hokage for the position of Reikage. Do you know how many years my old comrades have laughed at me for becoming the captain of the Anbu? You're acting all aggrieved. Just practice cooking more. If you're still here as the commander of this crappy Dark Guard next year, believe me, I'll slap you in the face with a thunderous, hot knife. Yi Yuexing's loud voice resounded through the sky. Faced with his father's spittle-flecked reprimand, Yi Yue shrank back, his strong, bear-like body hunched over like a quail egg, not daring to utter a sound. The members of the Secret Service were drawn by the sound. Seeing their usually domineering captain being scolded, they all pursed their lips and eavesdropped, secretly amused, but dared not peek. Like father, like son. Yi Yue often said this when he was disciplining people, and they didn't want to face the captain's wrath. Report to the captain. The beast sent a secret report. Just as Yi Yue's face turned red and he was about to collapse from the scolding, a sexy female Anbu member dressed in Anbu uniform jogged over. This made Yi Yue extremely happy. I usually hate using my brain and get a headache whenever I'm involved in intelligence work, but today I can finally escape this misery. Hey Dad, look, I have a meeting here. You can't even master health thrust. What are you good for? Yi Yuexing was too lazy to listen to his rambling. His female assistant usually organizes all the intelligence for him. He has no experience whatsoever. Take care of it here. After you're done, keep me company, cough, cough, keep me company while I continue practicing. Yi Yuexing thumped his strong chest muscles and stood aside waiting. Yi Yue shook his head helplessly. Even though his father was old enough to enjoy his retirement, he insisted on training with him. The Lightning Release Chakra Mode, which he had cultivated for over 50 years, was indeed powerful, but his body was nearing its limit. In his early years, he accompanied the third generation in their battles, and his lungs were severely injured by Anoki. When you're young, it's not a big deal, but as you get older, all sorts of age-related ailments start to appear. Doctors advised him to avoid strenuous activity, rest at home, and that he should live for another 10 or 8 years without much trouble. But he wouldn't listen. In my father's words, I can die in training, in a mission, or on the battlefield, but I can't die a pathetic death in bed! Now that things have come to this. What else can be said not to mention him as his son? Even the fourth Raikage has to call him Uncle 3 when they meet. Who in Kumagakure can control him can only let him be. Here you are, 2 secret documents. The female assistant, unaware of her boss's thoughts, organized the intelligence that Yunyin had just delivered and handed it all over to Yue. 2 portions? Yue frowned. To reduce the risk of espionage being exposed, intelligence was usually transmitted about once a month. 2 orders have arrived at once, which clearly indicates an emergency. One arrived late last night, and the other was delivered by express this morning, so I brought them together to show you, the female assistant explained. Yue nodded and took the intelligence. The intelligence was already translated from coded language into normal text, and it was also graded and labeled according to its importance. Is there tension between the Uchiha clan and Konoha? He spotted the most crucial part at a glance. The intelligence reports that the Uchiha clan's territory has been surrounded by the Andrew, and even a bird trying to fly out will be searched. It's probably more than just a tense situation. The female assistant added. Good thing. Yue clapped his hands. Since the establishment of the ninja village system by the god of shinobi Hashirama Senju, Konoha has firmly held the title of the strongest ninja village, while Kumagakure, which values martial prowess, has always been second. How can anyone tolerate this? Konoha was in trouble, but the happiest people were the Hidden Cloud village. It would be such a shame if the Uchiha clan were wiped out. If only I could make contact with them and capture them to have my offspring. Yue clicked his tongue in regret. My dad has mentioned the power of the Sharingan. It's no less powerful than the Byakugan. The other one is about the white eye. The female assistant pointed to the second report. The beast discovered a wild Byakugan bloodline holder, who is also a girl who can get pregnant. Okay. While standing to the side, bored, Yuexing suddenly heard his female assistant talking about eye rolls and immediately turned around. End of this chapter. Chapter 95 Yunyin. Chapter 95 Yunyin 2 A wild white-eyed monster. Yui was equally shocked. He tossed the Uchiha intelligence report back into his assistant's arms and lowered his head to look at the second report. The Byakugan has always been the bloodline limit that Kumagakure Hidden Cloud Village desires most. None of them. There are many reasons. Leaving aside the strategic importance of the white eye, a metaphor for a negative view or attitude, the Byakugan's abilities are a perfect match for their Cloud Village's Lightning Release Chakra Mode. Lightning Release Chakra Mode is a B-rank ninjutsu developed by the second Raikage. It involves training the body using chakra with advanced lightning release nature transformation, making the body almost immune to lightning release. Once mastered, Lightning Release Chakra Mode maximizes speed, power, and defense, making it the strongest lightning release ninjutsu with no weaknesses. Of course, such powerful ninjutsu is not easy to master. If ever one could master this skill, the title of the strongest ninja village would have changed hands long ago. Containing violent lightning release within the body is dangerous. One wrong move and the body would be electrocuted to a crisp. The Yoruzuki clan relied on their innate tolerance to lightning release to master the Lightning Release Chakra Mode. The difficulty rating of ninjutsu is not based on ordinary people. Grade B represents the training difficulty for the Night Moon clan. The version practiced by other ninjas in Kumagakure can only be called a simplified version of Lightning Release Armor. It doesn't count as a Lightning Release Chakra Mode. It wasn't that the Night Moon clan was reluctant to give up the subsequent secret techniques, but rather that they genuinely couldn't practice them. When the Yatsuki clan taught their secret techniques to outsiders, many Kumagakure ninjas were electrocuted by themselves every year, with the death rate once reaching an astonishing half. If they keep training like this, Cloud Village will become Mist Village. But the Byakugan can perfectly solve the problem of the Hidden Cloud Village. The Byakugan's powerful chakra control ensures that the control of lightning release nature transformation is extremely safe. Ordinary Cloud Village ninjas should not train on their own. Instead, They should be slowly stimulated by Byakugan users using safe and weak lightning release chakra. Once their lightning resistance has increased to a certain level, the subsequent training will proceed smoothly. What they wanted was not the Byakugan's observational abilities, but rather the ability to popularize the extremely dangerous Lightning Release Chakra Mode to everyone in the village. It acts as a safety switch and assists in cultivation. Think about it. How terrifying would an army be if everyone knew Lightning Release Chakra Mode! Until then, the Hidden Cloud Village will completely dominate the ninja world and no one will be able to stop it. There really are eye rolls. Seeing his son holding the intelligence for a long time without saying a word, Yuexin felt an itch to ask him a question. The Byakugan is of unparalleled importance to the Hidden Cloud Village. Moreover, she's a girl who can get pregnant. Even if you add up the value of 10 Yuexins and 10 Yuis, it wouldn't be half as precious as that girl. Even the global landscape could be altered as a result. I'm not sure if I have it. Yue looked at the intelligence in his hand, which consisted of a large number of possibilities, speculations, and perhaps. The beast didn't even see the white eye. To put it nicely, this is a reasonable speculation. To put it bluntly, the whole thing is just the conjecture of intelligence personnel without any evidence whatsoever. Yue licked his thick lips, feeling troubled. Going to Konoha to capture someone is no simple matter. Putting aside the difficulty, it could potentially disrupt the current peace and ignite the Fourth Shinobi World War. The Hidden Clouds are not afraid of war. But they can't start a world war just because of some random piece of information. How will this be written in history books from now on? A bloodbath caused by a sparrow will ignite a war between Kumagakure and Konoha! Even a single bet. Bring it here, let me take a look. Impatient, Yazuki Yu snatched the top-secret intelligence from Yazuki Takeshi's hands. The female assistant opened her mouth as if to remind her, but after thinking for a moment, she obediently closed her mouth again. Is this information reliable? Yoruichi read the intelligence report over and over again, then looked at his female assistant. Very reliable. The beast is our most important spy planted in Konoha. She was the one who provided the intelligence for the Byakugan theft 3 years ago. The female assistant answered fluently. She was always in charge of intelligence work for the Secret Service. She was the first to find Fuka and sent her to infiltrate Konoha. The promise to help her take revenge was also conveyed by Fuka after consulting with Yatsuki Takeshi. She trusted Feng Hua quite a bit. Nazuki nodded, his cloudy eyes scanning the intelligence report once more. The matter of the white eye is of utmost importance. We cannot let go of even the slightest possibility. Go and report to the fourth Hokage immediately. He will make the decision. It is good. Yue straightened his clothes and strode out of the training field. Behind him, Yuexin watched his son's departing figure, his eyes filled with an indescribable clarity. With intelligence, Yue rushed to Lei Ying's office. After entering, there was no small talk. Yoruichi immediately reported the information about Gray to the fourth Raigage. Cousin, what should we do? Seeing Ai rubbing his chin as if deep in thought, Yue asked. What do you mean? What should we do? Ai glanced at his good-for-nothing cousin, his golden beard standing on end. That eye roll. You said it yourself, it was an eye roll, so what else can we do? Organize the men, get ready to take action. Should we just make the move like this? Should we double-check in case it starts a war? Just deny it, that's all. Ai spread his hands, looking like a piece of meat that had been cut into pieces. Konoha is facing such serious internal problems right now. What good would it do to start a war? Would they dare to fight if we don't take advantage of this now and wait for Konoha to eliminate the Uchiha clan? We might really start a war. Now is the best time to act. Beneath Ai's rugged exterior lies a delicate heart. His keen political sense immediately made him realize the wonderful opportunity that the two pieces of intelligence combined presented. Konoha is already plagued by internal problems. If it were to provoke external threats as well, they absolutely cannot handle it. But who to send? AI quietly pondered who should go to Konoha. He had read the girl's information. Defeating a Jonin at the age of 6, she was a genius like Minato Namikaze or even surpassed him. They wanted to arrest him. You need at least 3 Jonin to be considered safe. But how can a pair of disdainful eyes, which are hard to tell if they are genuine or not, be enough to give you this hard-won opportunity? If you're going to do it big. Not only the Byakugan, but also the young Ninetales Jinchuriki. He didn't want to let him go. What if that girl wasn't just rolling her eyes? Kidnapping a genius and adding the Ninetales to the mix is enough to make it worthwhile. The power of the tailed beasts is difficult to predict. To be on the safe side, it would probably be necessary to have an elite Jonin take action. There are quite a few elite Jonin in Kyumagakure, though not many. They are all high-ranking combatants in the village, and many of them are even related to him. It seems inappropriate to send anyone to Konoha on such a perilous mission. Sending weaker units to Konoha would be a waste of their lives. If the stronger ones were to break somewhere, AI would truly feel heartbroken. He tugged at the beard on his chin. He, who usually charged straight in, suddenly hesitated. Ping! Exclamation! Just as AI was thinking, the door to Raikage's office was suddenly kicked open. AI was startled and was about to get angry. Upon seeing the tall figure slowly approaching, his anger vanished instantly, leaving only a look of utter helplessness. Third uncle, why are you here? Dad. Yu strode into the office with the imposing gait of a dragon and the powerful stride of a tiger, his aged face etched with wrinkles that seemed to have been carved by a knife. You can go out first. I have something to discuss with the 4th Hokage. Upon hearing such a formal address, Yui realized his father's seriousness. Then, cousin, shall I go and organize the manpower first? Yui looked at AI. AI waved his hand, letting him leave. Looking at Yuukshin, whose eyes shone brightly as he entered the room, as if he had instantly returned to his youth, Yuukshin already had some guesses about his third uncle. Wait until Yui walks far away. Before Yuukshin could speak, AI asked directly, want to go to Konoha? Hey, you really understand me. That's a near-death experience. I don't have much time left, and I don't want to die in bed. Before I die, I hope I can bring back a pair of white eyes for Yunyin. Yuukshin slammed his fist into his heart, making a dull thud. Enough. The old man, as majestic and powerful as a lion, stood tall with an indescribable gleam in his eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 96 Wilderness Survival Exercise. Chapter 96 Wilderness Survival Exercise. Twitter. The morning sunlight spilled onto the road, making the blue stone along the roadside look like jade. On her way to school, Ninja School Gray carried her school bag and looked up at the sky. Several sparrows frolicked on the poplar trees by the roadside, carrying insects in their beaks, and occasionally flew into the sky, making a constant racket. Perhaps because the hot summer is about to end, she suddenly feels that there are many more small animals in Konoha lately. It wasn't just those around her. The main body and clones of the Death Forest were even more numerous there. It was as if, in an instant, Konoha had become lively, brimming with vitality. This is not a good sign. As the saying goes, things reach their extremes and then reverse. Prosperity leads to decline. The unusual circumstances surrounding Konoha at this time seemed to foreshadow some kind of event. She hadn't seen Kakashi in the Haddock clan's territory for almost a week, and this busy state couldn't last much longer. The bowstring is already taut. The Uchiha clan massacre should happen in the next few days. Ninja School Gray Glass rubbed her arms, and goosebumps immediately rose on her fair skin. This was her first experience with a major event from the original story. She knew the bomb was right next to her and could explode at any moment, potentially affecting her. But Gray Glass was powerless to do anything about it. This feeling is awful. Abaido Uchiha, Danzo, Hiruzen Sarutobai, Itachi Uchiha, Fugaku Uchiha 5 cage level ninjas, standing at the pinnacle of the ninja world, are vying for supremacy. There are countless masters at the Jonin and elite Jonin levels. A Jonin like her might seem like someone important in normal times, but once she gets involved, she'll be ground to dust like beef in a meat grinder. This is not a ninja battle. It was a clash between several forces, a war exclamation. Only by becoming a cage-level powerhouse can one secure a place in a war that is beyond the influence of an individual. Therefore, even though Huilai knew that all forces were currently weak, she would not want to take the risk. That's not something she can get involved in right now. That's a bit too advanced. Her current fighting strength, even with a conservative estimate: if we don't open the 8 gates formation and don't consider situations like sneak attacks, then in a purely head-on battle with 2 or 3 Jonin of Kazama Koshi's caliber, a normal team composition, and good teamwork, you can take her down with a small price to pay. 1-to-1 and 1-to-many. Those are 2 completely different concepts. The saying 2 fists can't beat 4 hands is not just a saying. No. The main body needs to rest for a couple of days. Try to avoid going to the Death Forest. Ninja School Grey Glass felt increasingly nervous. An inexplicable sense of crisis, like a radar, kept stimulating her nerves. The safety of the main body is the most important thing. The training should be temporarily left to the shadow clones, while the main body can go to the Ninja Academy to avoid trouble. With those second-generation ninjas around, the Konoha Ninja Academy should be the safest place right now. Dong dong dong. Just as Ninja School Grey Glass was thinking this, a familiar voice suddenly came from the street corner. She looked up. Another version of myself, leaning on a white cane, appeared before me. How did you come? Ninja School Grey Glass was somewhat surprised. I think it's better to go to the Ninja Academy to lay low for a while. It's better for you guys to train outside. I've been feeling uneasy lately. Huilai scratched his arm. The feeling of being watched from time to time was making her irritable. She repeatedly checked her surroundings with her eyes rolled back, but still couldn't find anything wrong. The release of any ninjutsu requires the use of chakra. Unless it's a Byakugan technique, if it were discovered, the Hyuga clan would have come looking for it long ago. They couldn't have remained inactive indefinitely. Huilai was completely baffled. I can only assume that I'm just overly sensitive due to the tense atmosphere in the village. In any case, I'll go into the Ninja Academy to avoid the commotion for now, and wait until things settle down with the Uchiha before making any moves. Give me the school bag. Ninja School Grey Glass smiled. As expected of the original entity, everyone thought of the same thing. He tossed the backpack to his main body, and Ninja School Grey Glass immediately dispelled the shadow clone technique. He then put on his backpack. After many days, Huilai returned to the Ninja Academy once again. I just entered the classroom. A huge body suddenly flew backward and crashed into the grey glass face. Lift your foot. He kicked him away. Peng! The man let out a painful scream and flew out again, knocking down the other 2 short, stout men. In an instant, the 3 of them were rolling on the ground like gourds. Grey Glass, are you hurt? Naruto jogged over, his blue eyes filled with caution, as if he had done something terribly wrong. Don't worry, I'm fine. Huilai waved her hand, indicating that she was unharmed. Then he looked down at the 3 figures on the ground. These 3 were the same 3 boys who fought over the notebook and beat up Naruto. After being punished by Hyuga and then specifically beaten by Shikamaru and his group, their arrogance has subsided considerably. Watching the 3 slowly get up from the ground, their faces bruised and swollen, their eyes filled with fear as they looked at Naruto. Huilai already knew what was going on. You sought revenge against them? Yes. When confronted with Huilai's question, Naruto's eyes darted around, clearly indicating that things were not so simple. Huilai nodded. Since Naruto was unwilling to talk about it, She wouldn't ask any further questions. As long as Naruto can become stronger quickly and control the Nine Tails chakra as soon as possible, that's all that matters. Harry isn't his mother, so she won't interfere with these minor conflicts between classmates. The little incident at the entrance quickly passed. Hyuga gave a focused look at Uchiha Sasuke, who was sitting in the row by the window. No obvious abnormalities were found. He seemed to know nothing about the family situation. The clan is about to go to war with Konoha, but the second son, who is the clan leader, is completely unaware of this and goes to school as usual as if nothing is wrong. He's an amazing person. Hyuga didn't know what to say. Good morning, gray glass morning. Return to your seat. Shikamaru and the others were busy copying homework when they saw Harry arrive. They took a moment to greet her. Through ninja school gray glass's tireless efforts, her status among her friends is rising. You guys go ahead with your work, don't worry about me. The group continued to do their homework with their heads down. Hyuga calmly took out her empty notebook, placed it on the table, and looked relaxed. Blind people do not need to do homework. I don't know if the third generation gave prior notice or what. Not to mention homework. She doesn't even need to take academic exams. She only needs to pass the regular practical classes. It's likely they're treating her as a student with athletic talent. Bang! Suddenly, the sound of a door opening came from the front of the classroom. Hurry up, hearing the soft urging behind her. Hyuga didn't even need to look to know who was coming in. Dang dang dang! Exclamation! Yamino tapped the blackboard twice, quieting the slightly noisy class down. Notice! There will be no weekend off this week. Wow! Exclamation! The classroom, which had just been quiet, became noisy again. Quiet! Uruka's serious voice lowered everyone's voices. 4 days later, which is this Friday, the school will be organizing a large-scale wilderness survival drill. It will last 3 days and will take place at Training Ground Zero. Everyone should be prepared and bring food and water. End of this chapter. Chapter 97 Uchiha. Chapter 97 Uchiha. Uruka's words were like a bombshell dropped into a peaceful classroom. The class erupted in chaos. Wilderness survival drill. These words are far more appealing to Ninja Academy students who have plenty of chakra to spare and love to play and have fun than a holiday. Uruka roared several times, but it only changed the excited students from a boiling state to a semi-boiling state with small bubbles. In the end, even Uruka gave up. Anyway, the first lesson was the same old topic of the will of fire, and nobody was really listening anyway. He then began lecturing on his own, leaving the students to discuss it quietly below. Gray glass, let's team up. The wilderness survival exercise was conducted in groups of 3, and Naruto immediately invited Harry to join his team. It is good. Hyuga readily agreed. If she wasn't mistaken, the Uchiha clan massacre had happened within the last few days. This sudden survival exercise clearly had ulterior motives. Training Ground Zero is Konoha's largest training ground, but also its safest. The outer perimeter is separated from other training grounds by a wire fence. It is just an ordinary forest with few poisonous insects and wild beasts, and is a special site used for developing and testing ninjutsu. The location is also quite tricky. The Uchiha clan's territory is located in the southwest of Konoha, while Training Ground Zero is in the north of Konoha, near the Land of Fire's Council Hall and the Konoha security perimeter. It falls within Konoha's defensive perimeter, meaning it would be unaffected by the attack. If the Uchiha clan were to storm the Hokage building, the Ninja Academy, located in the heart of Konoha, would actually be less safe than Training Ground Zero. The survival exercise lasted for 3 days. 3 days later, regardless of who wins or loses, the students will not be affected. As for why we don't just give everyone a holiday, not all students at the Ninja Academy are second-generation ninjas like Nara and Nakamichi. There are also a large number of civilian ninjas among the students. If they are allowed to go home for the holidays, the children from civilian families who are unaware of the situation will definitely run around everywhere. The danger is actually greater. Most importantly, by gathering the students of the Ninja Academy together for protection, fewer people will be needed to guard them, freeing up a large amount of combat power to deal with the Uchiha clan. Kill two birds with one stone. Given that the details couldn't be revealed, Konoha's approach was simple and effective, and in Harry's opinion, it was already perfect. At least for the time being, she couldn't think of a better solution. It seems we need to find another person. Naruto cheered when he saw that Harry had accepted his invitation to join his team, then looked around, pretending to look for a teammate. He really didn't want to team up with anyone anymore. It's good that he and Huey are in a team. In his mind, wilderness survival drills were synonymous with a 3-day getaway for two. Hyuga lets Naruto perform as he pleases. It didn't matter to her who she teamed up with, and she didn't care if she was alone. With her combat prowess, she could come and go freely in the so-called Death Forest No. 44 training ground, let alone the Zero training ground, which was completely safe. It was just a picnic. What she's mainly thinking about now is that things seem to be developing in a slightly different way from the original story. If she remembered correctly, on the day the Uchiha clan was massacred, Sasuke was late getting out of school and only discovered the massacre on his way home. There was no wilderness survival drill at all. Could it be that her butterfly effect caused the original plot to change? Huey pondered for a long time but still couldn't figure out what impact she could have on the Uchiha clan's extermination. But the recent inexplicable spying is real. Faced with what appears to be altered plot points from the original story, alarm bells are ringing in Huey's mind. She didn't even want to send out her cultivation clones. The separation of chakra would cause a short-term shortage of combat power, and she had to ensure that her own combat power was at its best at all times. Starting tomorrow, the cultivation of clones will also be suspended. She'll make plans once everything is over or when Akai returns. The fact that her 6th-level bodyguard, whom she hired for 1,000,000,000 taels, isn't in the village makes her feel uneasy. It's quite intriguing that the 3rd Hokage was willing to let Might Guy leave the village at this point in time. Perhaps the Uchiha clan's rebellion posed no threat to hers and Sarutobi, as they may have already found a way to deal with the Uchiha clan. Is it Itachi Uchiha? Tusk. How annoying. Not daring to approach the Uchiha clan's territory, and having to rely on scattered clues from the original work for all information, coupled with her 6th sense constantly sounding alarm bells, made Huey extremely irritable soon. The day passed by in Huey's random thoughts. The sun is setting in the west. The golden sunlight on the horizon turned into a blinding orange red. Naruto and the others excitedly packed their school bags, waiting for the school bell to ring before rushing out of the school. Uruka, a worker, sat behind a table, glancing at the clock on the wall. He was clearly also waiting for school to end. Dong 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 sudden. The sound of running could be heard coming from the corridor outside the classroom. Boom! Exclamation! The classroom door was pushed open. Huey looked in the direction of the sound. The newcomer had thin features, and his signature emerald green eyes were filled with anxiety. Is it Kazama Koshi? He's been discharged from the hospital. A glint flashed in his eyes. The bones in the opponent's chest cavity have largely healed. Although there are still cracks, they no longer affect movement. The ninja's physique is truly amazing. Notify. School will be extended by 2 hours for self-study. Kazama finished speaking quickly, then turned and left without waiting for anyone's reaction. His steps hurried soon. Kazama Etsu's voice could be heard coming from the next classroom. The students in the elite class looked at each other, puzzled by the various unusual events that had occurred today. Only the gray glass face was somber. Gently stroke the center of your forehead with your fingers. Unexplained memories and fatigue kept surging into my brain. The clone that had been cultivating outside the school has been dispelled. They also noticed the abnormality in Konoha, ended their training plan early, and returned to the village to secretly observe the Uchiha's movements using their Byakugan. The Uchiha clan's territory has been sealed off. The specific details inside cannot be seen. Only ninjas wearing masks, whose identities were indistinguishable as either members of the Anbu or Root, could move in and out of the barrier. The situation is already clear. The Uchiha clan massacre has begun ahead of schedule. Do not! Huey glanced at the sky outside, then looked at Sasuke, who seemed a little excited about the weekend's wilderness survival adventure. In the original story, this day should also be the date, and the plot hasn't changed at all. The Uchiha clan was wiped out beforehand, so Konoha's wilderness survival measures were ultimately meaningless. It turned into a regular picnic. Since we're just killing time anyway, let's use this time to assign teams for the survival exercise. Uruka was surprised to receive the notification and could only suppress his desire to leave work before making the suggestion. In this regard, the classmates strongly agreed and soon began a lively discussion. Sasuke, let's be a team. Still in my group. Sakura and Ino jointly invited Sasuke, and after a heated argument they almost came to blows. Only Uruka had to step in to mediate. Sasuke, feigning coolness, revealed a faint smile, seemingly quite pleased with the girl's adoration. Huey simply watched the scene unfold before her in silence sometimes. I have to sigh. Fate is so cruel. End of this chapter. Chapter 98, A Letter from the Hidden Clouds. Chapter 98, A Letter from the Hidden Clouds. That night, the enjoyable time spent in groups came to an end quickly. Due to insufficient class size, it was impossible to form a full 3-person team. Naruto and Harry could only be paired up. Naruto's joy was palpable. He was posing as Matt K, grinning with his big, shiny teeth. As Huey watched Sasuke leave school with his backpack, she felt that people's joys and sorrows were not shared. After today, that arrogant young man will die. All that remained was a tragic avenger. Gray glasses past memories were slightly touched. The same rebellion, the same night of annihilation in the end, only she and Kimimura remained of the once vast Taketori clan. Our fates are so similar. Impressive. They quickly returned to the Kimu clan's territory. Huey didn't go anywhere. She lay calmly on the bed, waiting for it all to end. Until the early morning. She rolled her eyes at Kakashi headache as he dragged himself home before finally falling asleep. Konoha won, and nothing unexpected happened. After the Uchiha clan was wiped out, Konoha entered a period of complete peace, and her path of gradual development would be smooth sailing from now on. If I'm strong enough, then nothing will happen. Consciousness gradually blurred. In a dream, she returned once again to the battlefield where she had first awakened. Severed limbs and arms, dripping with blood. The father, whose body was torn in two, cried out as he climbed out. For a moment, she couldn't tell whether it was a past life or this life scratch. The sharp pen tip left scratches on the paper due to excessive force. Sawada Fuka broke out in a cold sweat. My hands trembled when I wrote. The intelligence he wrote was news that could shock the world. The legendary Uchiha clan, who quelled the war alongside the Senju clan, was wiped out. It seems that only a boy named Uchiha Sasuke remains of the entire clan, although she had some suspicions as early as when the secret agents surrounded her. But no one expected that Konoha would act so swiftly and decisively once they made their move. In less than an hour, the Uchiha clan, known as the strongest ninja clan in Konoha, was completely wiped out. What Sharingan is invincible in a one-on-one fight? What kind of elite Jonin with 3 Tamo? It's all nonsense when faced with an absolute disparity in numbers. Dozens of Chunin and Jonin cooperated with each other, using various water release techniques to suppress, genjutsu to interfere, sealing techniques, and ninja tool ambushes even just being touched. Countless family secret techniques, secret teachings, and strange and bizarre ninja methods that I've never even heard of before, without any information about their specific mechanisms, were all thrown in at once. Combat intelligence, intelligence analysis. Hundreds of different ninjutsu techniques are thrown at you all at once. How are you supposed to analyze them? Several Uchiha Jonin, who were clamoring for rebellion, attempted to manipulate the situation. What awaited them was a relentless barrage of kicks from hundreds of ninjas of the same rank who possessed techniques that countered their type of ninjutsu. It lasted for less than 7 seconds. The Uchiha Jonin, who was known as invincible among his peers, was beaten to his knees. Stomped their hands and feet. His chakra was drained by an unknown secret technique. The steel cable wrapped around the neck and twisted the head off completely. While the eyes were still fresh, a ninja specifically tasked with removing them came to process them. 2 Uchiha were also overcome with grief, their eyes reddening and their bodies glowing as if they were about to unleash a powerful attack. As soon as the movement occurred, it was detected by a sensory ninja who was monitoring chakra fluctuations in real time from a distance. Give an order. The sealing technique came crashing down on them instantly. The densely packed surgical patterns etched on his face and body resembled the writing of a long novel after that. The Uchiha group remained motionless, like puppets. Konoha's Anbu forces were so saturated that they were killing and cleaning up the corpses at the same time, and by the time they had wiped out the Uchiha clan, they had also collected all the Sharingan. Finally, they were categorized. 2 large bottles were filled with 1 and 2 jade pieces. Each pair of the 3 jade pendants was separately contained in small bottles, sealed in scrolls, and transported away directly. The powerful Uchiha clan was like a lamb to the slaughter in front of the ninja village, which was a united force of countless ninja clans, large and small. Even if you were to trade your life for it, you couldn't get rid of it. 2 Anbu ninjas were seriously injured and were immediately surrounded by more than a dozen medical ninjas. They quickly stabilized their injuries, and while the fighting continued, the enemy they had just defeated had already healed and rejoined the battle. It was terrifying, although I didn't see it with my own eyes. But even just listening to the trembling sparrow's story made Fukasawa feel a chill run down her spine. This is the power of the ninja village. The era of the Warring States period, when various ninja clans dominated, has long passed. Those ninja clans that fail to grasp the situation are forced to withdraw from the stage of history. Whether it's the Uchiha clan or the Senju clan, they're all the same. Fukasawa organized the astonishing information in her hands and put it in her pen. She only kept 2 swifts, and she sent them back to Cloud Village a few days ago. They haven't returned yet. Logically, they should have flown back. Why did it take so long this time? Fukasawa was unsettled. The first piece of intelligence is fine. The information about Ash Blossom that follows is crucial to whether she can complete her main mission in Konoha, so it cannot be taken lightly. I wonder if Yunyin will take action because of that seemingly unreliable guess. Just as Sawada Fuka was feeling worried, suddenly a clicking sound came from the small window by the kitchen signal. Her swift has returned. Fukasawa's eyes lit up, and she ran to the window. Sure enough, there were her swallows outside. At this moment, the other party had a small scroll tied to the sole of their foot and was pecking at the glass with their beak. She quickly opened the window and let the swift in. Unroll the scroll. He placed the food and water in front of the swift and then sat down at the table to examine it intently. The scroll slowly unfurled. The incantation was written on it in a way she couldn't understand, and there were 3 items tucked inside. A letter, a photograph, a whistle. Fukasawa was the first to pick up the photo. It was a cave. 4 ninjas wearing cloud ninja headbands surrounded a tall, orange-haired boy. She recognized it immediately. That person was Jugo, who went inexplicably mad and destroyed her hometown. Has the hidden cloud village already captured him? Sawada Fuka's eyes lit up with joy, and he quickly opened the letter. He took a pen and started writing and drawing, translating the coded messages one by one. She was overjoyed when she finished translating the first part of the letter. The first thing is to acknowledge and commend her espionage work. Yunyin values its promises. If she can bring the Byakugan bloodline successor back alive, she will be showered with riches and honors, and the Hidden Cloud Village will bestow upon her the honorary title of hero, and execute Jugo in her presence. Her children could also receive the secret teachings of the Lightning Release Chakra Mode, and so on. Feng Yue didn't even glance at the tempting promises that followed. For her, ending her precarious spy career, avenging her family, and living a peaceful and happy life was enough. That's all she asked for. Simple and pure. Feng Yue continued translating. Compared to the lengthy promises made earlier, the latter part was much simpler and clearer. The ninjas on the mission have departed aboard the elephant bird and will arrive in Konoha in 2 days. Locate the suspected location of the Byakugan bloodline successor and the Ninetails Jinchuriki. Ideally, they should be together. Find the right moment to unfold the scroll on the ground and trigger the sealing technique with blood. After successfully capturing them, he blew the bone whistle and took them back to Kumagakure on the elephant bird. The specific plan was not detailed, but the process of the mission was fairly clear. Fuka Sawada knew about the elephant bird. It is a giant bird that lives only in the high mountains of Yunyin. It is said that it can weigh an astonishing 700 kilograms and can easily carry people into the sky after being tamed. Is the plan to use the giant bird to parachute in, capture people, and then leave? This plan is a bit too reckless. Sawada Fuka felt that Kumagakure's plan was hasty and greedy, but upon closer inspection, it seemed to fit the local customs and culture of Kumagakure very well. Since the operation involves airdropping troops to capture them, the faster the better. It would be best to take advantage of the fact that the Ninetails Jinchuriki and the Byakugan bloodline user are together, and that they are far from the center of Konoha. To avoid attracting reinforcements from Konoha ninja, Sawada Fuka suddenly remembered the latest news from the Sparrow who had been sent to the Ninja Academy to monitor Harry. 4 days later, the Ninja Academy will hold a wilderness survival exercise. The two are in the same class, so they should be in the same training field! The Ninja Academy only has about 10 chunin as instructors, most of whom are theoretical types and not very skilled in actual combat. At most, there's one jonin, Kazama Koshi, who has just been discharged from the hospital and is still not fully recovered. Considering the vastness of Training Ground Zero and its location far from the center of Konoha, Fuka Sawada already had a plan in mind. End of this chapter. Chapter 99 Fishing. Chapter 99 Fishing. The next day, news of the Uchiha clan's massacre spread throughout Konoha in an instant and outwards at an astonishing speed. There was no more explosive news in Konoha, or even the entire ninja world. The entire village, regardless of age or gender, was engaged in a heated discussion. Wherever Huilai goes, she hears all sorts of rumors about the Uchiha clan. It is said that the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, presided over a memorial service specifically for the Uchiha clan massacre. In his speech, he mentioned Itachi Uchiha, the genius of the Uchiha clan, murdered his entire clan and defected from Konoha. He was the culprit behind everything. Konoha was founded by the Uchiha and Senju clans and made great contributions to the subsequent development of the ninja village, but unexpectedly, it suffered such a calamity. He deeply regretted this. He stated that he would not tolerate Itachi Uchiha's bestial act of murdering his own family, classifying him as an S-rank rogue ninja of Konoha and vowing to bring him to justice. In the end, all the blame was placed on Itachi Uchiha. The fact that the Uchiha clan rebelled was covered up, and no one has yet discovered how Itachi managed to kill the entire clan in such a short time. No one dares to question these loopholes. This is already the best result. The Uchiha clan's achievements and glory in establishing the village were preserved, and Konoha did not kill the meritorious families. The invincible Uchiha clan died at the hands of their own people, thus preserving their last bit of pride and dignity. The once bustling Uchiha clan now has hundreds of corpses with their eyes wide open in discontent, leaving only a disheartened young man. Sasuke is hospitalized. It is said that he suffered severe trauma, resulting in psychological injury, and is temporarily unable to attend school. The school's survival drills continue. However, some changes have been made to the rules. What was originally a simple outing turned into a real survival exercise, much like an exam. With the Uchiha threat gone, everything in the village seemed to be back on track. Plop plop, a pale gray swift flew over the gray glass head, and a large rat in the grass plunged headfirst into its hole, leaving only its two small legs pushing the mud outside. A hint of coldness flashed in Huey Libai's eyes. Something's wrong with these animals. These past few days, aside from attending her regular classes at the Ninja Academy, she has spent the rest of her time locked at home, searching for the source of that inexplicable feeling of being watched. Unfortunately, nothing came of it, until she left home this morning. As soon as she opened the door, she saw several sparrows perched on the wall, and a strange sense of familiarity suddenly welled up in her mind. Recall carefully. She was suddenly surprised to find that every time she went out, several small animals would appear directly in front of the gate. Sometimes it's a swallow. Sometimes it's a sparrow. There was even a black chipmunk holding pine nuts. This happening once or twice is one thing, but if it happens every time you open the door, then it's clearly not normal. Someone is using these animals to spy on her. Her purpose is not yet clear, but it may be that she attracted the attention of others by practicing soft fist in the dead forest, which is full of wild animals. Carrying a school bag. Huey Lai, returning home from school, squinted as she watched the sparrows land on the eaves once again. Then, pretending not to have noticed, he pushed open the door. Go back inside the house. Bai Yan peered through the sparrows on the rooftop, and seeing them chirping, he stealthily flew to the window, peeking out with his slightly bulging eyes to observe them. Separated by transparent glass, the white of his eyes met the bird's eyes. Huey Lai finally figured out the source of that inexplicable feeling of being watched. This led to even greater doubts. There really is no chakra. How did you do it? No matter how many times you scan with your white eyes, you can't find any special traces in the other person's body. Aside from its unusual behavior, it's just an ordinary bird. A secret technique that allows you to control ordinary animals without needing chakra. That's incredible. Huey Lai shook her head. The ninja world is full of all sorts of strange and wonderful ninjutsu, but no matter what kind, chakra is an indispensable source. Relying on the Byakugan's ability to see through things and its unique ability to see chakra, Hai Lai always maintains an advantage in intelligence, and she has even developed a path dependency. It's not Gray Glass's fault. These eyes are just so useful. Roll your eyes. All the issues are clear at a glance. She pays more attention to those with chakra, but ignores those without chakra with a casual glance. If it weren't for the animal surveillance, she wouldn't have noticed this habit of relying too much on eye rolling. Huey Lai suddenly felt a sense of relief. Fortunately, the harm caused by this bad habit came early, giving her room to correct it. If the future takes place during a battle, and the enemy suddenly uses some ninjutsu that the Byakugan cannot detect, she might pay an extremely heavy price if she is careless. Even Kaguya was captivated by Naruto's reverse harem, let alone her Dongdom. Huey Lai walked to the window. Watching the sparrows outside the window fly away in a panic, I quickly pulled the blue curtains shut. She didn't know the other person's purpose, but it's unlikely that he was an admirer of hers, let alone someone from the Anbu or root. Otherwise the third Hokage and Danzo would have come to talk to her long ago. The enemy must be eliminated! The opponent's ninjutsu is troublesome if they don't have chakra. Even the white eye cannot detect it. Huey Lai racked her brains but couldn't find a good solution. It seems the only way is to lure the snake out of its hole, give the other party a chance to make a move, and let him reveal his own weakness. With her current fighting strength. Don't say anything else. With the power of the 8 gates, even if she couldn't defeat an elite Jonin, she could always escape. If the opponent has cage-level strength, this extreme case is not considered. There are only a handful of ninjas with cage-level strength in the entire world, and they are all well-known masters from their respective ninja villages. If the Monitor had that kind of power, the other party would have attacked her directly when she went to the Death Forest, and there would have been no need for her to hide here. Quickly clarify the logic. Grey Glass sensed that the danger inside wasn't too great, and decided to try fishing. It took 4 days to catch this fish. She made several special trips to the remote Death Forest. After training, he used the ability of the corpse bone pulse to perform a performance where he was completely exhausted, or even injured and unable to move due to practice. The enemy never took the bait. Grey Glass guessed. Either the other party is very cautious or too weak, so even though Huilai seems exhausted, the other party doesn't dare to make a move against her. Either it's a surveillance system without chakra, lacking real-time capability. It can't transmit Huilai's situation in real time, so the other party doesn't know Huilai's condition at the time. These two speculations may even coexist. The other party was neither powerful nor capable of real-time monitoring, and was probably much weaker than she had imagined. Although they hadn't met yet, Huilai had already roughly deduced a lot of information about the other party. The fishing plan is temporarily suspended. Grey Glass had no better options left and could only test her patience against the unknown enemy. In the blink of an eye. It's Friday. Huilai followed her teacher and classmates to the north gate of Konoha's Zero training ground. The 3-day wilderness survival exercise has officially begun. End of this chapter. Chapter 100 Hunter and Prey. Chapter 100 Hunter and Prey. Friday 9 in the morning. Konoha Zero training ground, North Gate. A rusty Zero sign was held atop an iron gate by steel pillars, and a massive, seemingly endless barbed wire fence surrounded the entire forest. A crow, entirely black with bright red eyes, stood on the iron gate. The lush banyan tree stretches outwards, its branches weaving through the gaps in the wire mesh as if pleading for help. Class teachers, please read out the rules for this exercise. Kazama Koshi, who was in charge of leading this survival exercise, issued the instructions. Dark green, cold eyes scanned the backpacks of the little radishes, only pausing for a moment when they landed on the silver-haired, childlike figure. His chest injury had clearly healed almost completely. Yet, inexplicable phantom pain still lingers. These past few days, after returning to campus, he discovered that he was now bound to the name Jurai Huilai. The moment someone mentions Harry, someone else immediately chimes in, "Oh, that's the guy who beat up Principal Kazama so badly he had to be hospitalized after enrolling." Every time he heard those words, he felt immense regret. He regretted why he had stopped her from enrolling in school, why he had been careless and hadn't used ninjutsu, and why he had taught her wind release, nature transformation despite past grievances given Huilai's outrageous talent. Once she achieves something in the future, the embarrassing story of being kicked away by her will probably be mentioned repeatedly. Just thinking about it makes him feel that his future seems bleak. The teachers had no idea how Chief Kazama felt. After receiving the instructions, the homeroom teachers of each class began to explain the rules to their students. Uruka launched into a long, rambling speech. Only when everyone had become impatient did they finally get to the point, beating around the bush. The exercise lasted 3 days, with each survival team only allowed to carry 1 day's worth of food and water. It tested teamwork and required them to hunt prey in the forest to survive. If danger is encountered, a signal flare can be released to signal for help, but this also signifies the failure of the exercise. During this period, teachers from the Ninja Academy will arrest students. It tests everyone's ability to hide in the jungle. If you are caught, You will lose all your food and water, and you will be eliminated after 3 attempts. This wilderness survival exercise, originally intended for safety, now seems to have become a different kind of test. Everyone line up, pack your food and water, and put them on the scale in front. If it weighs more than 5 pounds, take out the excess and give it to me. Hearing Iruka's words, Naruto quickly took the instant noodles out of his backpack and stuffed them into his clothes. At first glance, Huey noticed that his belly was swollen as if he were 10 months pregnant. Naruto's cheating tricks naturally did not escape Iruka's sharp eyes. He was directly used as a typical example and dragged to the forefront. Grabbing his legs, he stood upside down amidst Naruto's screams, shaking out every single piece of his body. Seeing Naruto's miserable state, Tiba, who had originally wanted to cheat, quickly took out the dog food he had prepared for Akamaru from his pocket. Having learned from the previous example, everyone else behaved themselves, and in the end, only Naruto was injured. Speaking of which, the grouping for this wilderness survival exercise was quite interesting. Naruto and Hyuga are in the same group. Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji form the Ino-Shikicho trio, a group of Shino, Kiba, and Hinata. Sakura teamed up with 2 random teammates. Except for Class 7, the group assignments for the other students were almost identical to their subsequent class assignments. It seems the original work wasn't divided arbitrarily after all. After everyone's food supplies were weighed as required, Iruka gathered up the pile of food on the ground and said, "Now, everyone line up and enter the training ground in batches." Harry and Naruto lined up at the front of the queue, looking at the lush forest ahead and the classmates gradually disappearing into it. Naruto had already forgotten his earlier embarrassment and was extremely excited, looking around curiously. Even the heavy load of food meant for 2 people on his back couldn't stop his energy. That's right. Huey put all her food into Naruto's bag. Its beautiful name is to strengthen Naruto's physique and forge his indomitable will. Naruto had no objections and was even quite happy about it. He felt that Huey's willingness to entrust him with the management of vital food and water resources represented Huey's strong trust. This made Huey realize how terrifying it is to be obsessed with love, and it reaffirmed her resolve not to date. Soon the group in front disappeared into the forest, and it was finally Huey and her companion's turn. "Let's go." Naruto strode in, eager to get inside. Huey held a white cane and looked up at the sky. Rolling your eyes will induce a reaction. In the vast, boundless green forest, there are countless wild animals. This is enemy territory. However, there are also many Chunin teachers at the Ninja Academy, so in Harry's opinion, this is not a particularly good opportunity to take action. Of course, it would be best if the other party couldn't resist taking action. Huey wasn't afraid of the other party being in the open. What she feared was the other party hiding in the shadows, watching her all the time, and not knowing when they would strike with something big that would be the most dangerous thing. To be ready for a surprise attack at any time, she hasn't used shadow clones for the past few days, in order to ensure that her chakra reserves are sufficient. Creak creak. Woo, the wails of a man echoed continuously from the locked cell. Accompanied by terrifying chewing sounds, the wails grew fainter and fainter until a final scream rang out and the sound vanished completely. Squeak. It's uncomfortable. The mouse in the cage seemed to have been stimulated by something. Its eyes were red, and its cheeks were bulging restlessly. Fuka Sawada ignored her animal friends, dressed in a fitted tracksuit, covered her mouth and nose, and pounded the dried herbs in the mortar into powder with a pestle. Behind, the powder packets were neatly arranged in sealed plastic bags. Sunburst Gray and the Ninetales Jinchuriki successfully entered training ground 0. The ninjas from the Hidden Cloud Village have also arrived. Yunyin only showed her the complete plan after everyone had arrived. It can only be said that the plan was much more meticulous than she had imagined. I never expected that they would be willing to send a top-tier elite Jonin into Konoha. As expected of Kumagakure, one of the 5 great ninja villages along with Konoha. Their strength is indeed terrifying. The matter concerning the Uchiha clan has been settled. Konoha also relaxed from its previous complete tension. This is the best time to take action. Crush the powder in your hand completely and put it into a bag. Only a small handful remained. Fuka crushed the powder with her fingers and sprinkled it into the rat cage next to her. Squeak! The mouse twitched its nose, sniffing at the powder falling from the sky. The 4 toes of its front paws scratched restlessly. The powder was quickly sprinkled down. Soon, the powder in Sawada Fuka's hand disappeared. Jijai! Exclamation! The mouse shuddered. Its bloodshot eyes searched upwards, but no matter what it did, no more powder was sprinkled down. Squeak! Its cry is sharp and shrill. Bang bang bang! The once docile rats instantly became frenzied, their eyes red, and they frantically banged their heads against the iron cage. Fuka Sawada grinned, looking at the large, red-eyed rat in the cage, its head already bleeding profusely. She was extremely satisfied with the effects of the medicine powder. End of this chapter. Alright legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.